Steph Manfield's list, I think I added an extra copy of a braid in the sideboard. I forgot what I took out.
It looks like maybe you cut his abandoned attachments. I mean, there's an arrow, so I can't see what's on the
Oh
right.
yeah, no, I kept the abandoned attachments. Let me
Broadside
just
barrage.
um no, I don't think it was
It looks like the
that.
abandoned attachments. Oh no, you have it in the main deck. Never mind. Um.
Yeah. Um
Okay.
yeah, what
Maybe
was it?
did he have
I'm
three
actually
Riddlers? I guess I'll
No,
pull
he
up the
had
list.
two.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of want to look up the list real quick just to
Yeah, I'm
double check
pulling
what I
it up.
cut.
Let's
You pulling it up?
yeah, let's just pull it up. Let's
Hmm.
see if it comes up on the sites. Or if it makes me look at
Yeah.
pre-modern deck lists. Standard. Yes. Yeah, because it's like sorted all weird. Okay, is it control? Not is it aggro? Uh.
So it was a torch the tower. I
Okay.
dropped one torch the tower and brought in an additional braid. So other than that, it's the yeah, I'm looking at the MTG Goldfish. This looks like the list.
Yeah, I see it.
Um,
Um.
yeah. So that was the only change I made.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, did you when you played the deck, were you considering making a lot of changes, or you're like, I'll just try, what the CFB regged?
Yeah, mostly just wanted to just try it, and I figured an additional braid in the sideboard seems reasonable. But also like the deck, I don't know, my impression of the deck is that there's almost zero flex slots if you're playing the monument configuration. Like I don't know if, like, I mean, you have the Grand, the Storm Chasers talents, the artist talents, and the monument, right? And I'm not sure if I really want to be shaving on any of those to add other cards main. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be shaving on the lessons, and like I guess yeah, that was one of the questions I had. Like, what's like the floor of like the number of lessons that should be in the main deck in order for it to function? Like I didn't really, do the math. But it just felt like even during sideboarding, like it just felt really awkward bringing in some of like the non-lesson interaction. um and like, I might end up going down to like 17 lessons in the main. Maybe that's okay because there's so much like card draw. But yeah, I guess I just like didn't understand the deck enough to like feel comfortable, like messing with the, possibly affecting the integrity of the deck by, making changes. So this is a very long-winded way of saying I just basically, you know decided to just run the list mostly as is.
Yeah, I mean the question about how many lessons should have, that's kind of a question that's like asking a bank what their reserve ratio should be. It's like you don't want to know how the sausage is made. I mean, you
Yeah.
like it's kind of like a hard question to know. I mean, obviously, you kind of have a gut feel, like probably that's more like, you play the deck and you'll be like, oh, I feel low. You're like, oh, I feel low on lessons, maybe I'll add more. It's hard to have a super specific
Right.
answer to that. Obviously, I mean, maybe like for Nats you'd be like, oh, obviously you need this many, but I haven't played the deck as much. um, I mean, I would see the flex spots almost though, like as kind of those lessons card. Like for example, like Iroh's demonstration. I mean, it's probably not worth talking about like changing the deck too much, but I guess one thing that's interesting is like obviously the metagame after Worlds, you know, changed a bit. I guess I said never talk about metagaming, but like obviously before, after
Yeah.
Worlds, like especially if you play any event, you can expect more mirrors. They probably didn't expect too many mirrors. You know what I mean? So like I could see making a small
Right.
change, like maybe you add like an abrade or two main over like an Iroh's demonstration because you expect more mirrors, and because like Iroh's demonstration is like, well, it has some utility in the mirror, but
Yeah.
like, so maybe something small like that. But yeah, like I would like, I don't like Grand. It seems like you probably don't want to touch her. And then like the boomerang basics talent thing, like maybe you could go deep and touch around with that a bit. But it seems like that's pretty advanced if you start touching that stuff too much. And then like, yeah, maybe like the
Yeah.
Eloquentia,
Yeah.
the lesson, like the that's what stands out to me is what could change. Like I could see like maybe you can cut one combustion technique, like if you expect a lot of mirrors or whatever for like another abrade or whatever, like you could cut like one Iroh's and one combustion technique. Or you could do stuff like you could cut like two
Yeah.
Iroh's demonstration and one technique and add like two abrades and a quench. But anyway, like it's not worth going probably too much. But that's just like the thing. It's less about like oh, I know better how to build my deck than Channel Fireball did, but it's like, oh, you know, like maybe the meta's changing a lot, so I can consider that. But also, as you said, like you're like, oh, but maybe I don't know, like it's like a Jenga tower. Like if I take out this block, it's gonna fall apart. So it's fine to like just start and get
Yeah,
familiar with it. Um,
yeah, and I think um the one of the games I played, I don't think it's the one I have queued up right now, but like it was a mirror. Like it was like one of the first games I played was a mirror, and so immediately I'm like, oh man, I wish I had the Abrade main. So I definitely felt like the effect of obviously like the meta shifting, like the fact that I'm running into it on the ladder and stuff. But yeah, I also hear what you're saying about kind of just feeling it out. Like I remember when I used to play a lot of like monocolored aggro decks. Like I always like, I mean, certain decks. I remember when I'm sideboarding, I never wanted to go below like 24 creatures main or something like that, and the deck would just become anemic if I did. And I didn't really have any like math or science behind that. It's just kind of like I felt it out. After enough reps of the deck, it just like it stopped functioning after a certain threshold. So that makes sense. I just haven't developed like that feel for this deck yet. And yeah, I guess I will over time. But yeah, also, I mean, I struggled a lot. I made you're gonna have a field day with the amount of like bad plays that I made because I mean, there's just so many decision points and there's so much speculation with this deck, like where like you got to play to certain outs, like you got to hope to like draw certain cards or whatever in certain spots, and it's just yeah, I think it's like it's a very I don't know what the right term is, but it's a very speculative deck, if that makes sense. Where
well,
like
yeah, it was like the
you don't
looting. You have
always have
to, yeah, like the rummage
yeah,
effect is kind of inherently speculative. I mean, I would say like the
right,
main big thing about cantrip decks, because like back when this deck seems really similar to like Phoenix and Pioneer, and people had a lot of problems playing that deck. And I would just say like when your deck's like a lot of cantrips, you kind of really need to like have a big picture view of like what you're trying to do, and like what the game like what you're trying to fight over. Because like most decks, like you kind of just have your spells and they have their own plan. But like when your deck's all cantrips, you have to really be like, what am I trying to fight over? What am I looking for? You know what I mean? So that's a big thing. Like when you're playing
yeah,
these decks, like you kind of have to know what you want to do before you do it. Because you know what I mean. Like if your hand's all cantrips, you can't really just be finicking around. I mean, obviously it has some inbuilt, just like Phoenix, it has inbuilt like what it's trying to do. Like, oh yeah, obviously I want to get Monument down. Obviously I want to draw 3. But there's a lot of situations you have to really be like ahead, like thinking about, yeah, like what to fight over. Like I would say that's the big thing with the deck. Like when you have the cantrips, if you're like confused, the question you should be asking is what am I trying to do here? You know what I mean? And like just think about the trade
yeah,
offs. Because the thing about like maybe you said speculatives, but you could also say like trade offs. Like a lot of times when you're rummaging, it's like, but like yeah, you're like making like something bad can happen either way, so you kind of have to be confident about like which one you weigh more, right? Because like a lot of time when you're rummaging, it's like, well, if I rummage away the land, I can get punished if this happens, and if I keep the land, I can get punished if this happens. So like you
yeah,
just need to be aware like that you're making a trade off, because then it feels better than if you're just thinking something bad can happen either way, and then you panic and click a button. It's more like you feel more in control if you like, yeah. That's what I would say about it briefly,
yeah.
but
The land thing. Oh man, I remember I ran into that a few times. I remember one particular moment where I'm not sure if it's in this match, but I was gonna see so many cards or a decent amount of cards, and so I rummaged away a land to keep what I thought would be a better card in my hand, and then like didn't draw a land and missed a land drop as a result, stuff like that. So yeah, definitely a lot of like math or I don't know, probabilities and decision points and playing the outs and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean basically everything that you're saying. So I don't know, but I mean, I'm not giving up on the deck. I think I just need to really practice it a lot, and I'm sure our session right now will help as like a starting point for it. So,
yeah,
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
cool.
Yeah,
So let me. All right. So we'll start.
yeah. Okay,
So this
so
is
yeah,
opening hand.
pretty easy mulligan, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Wasn't thrilled about this, but kept it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I bought him the mountain. Kept the two
Yeah, it seems reasonable.
better
Like
lands.
not a. I mean, I would say I don't know, but I could see you playing the Spire Bluff maybe. I don't know if you consider that, just because like, what if you draw 3 Spire Bluffs in a row? I guess that's like the decision to information, so
Mm,
maybe it's worth it.
interesting. Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I guess that's
Yeah.
just a
That
small
makes sense.
consideration.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like I don't know, like maybe the island, but it's like I guess I'm almost more like self-absorbed, where I'm just thinking about like what can go right or wrong for me. But anyway, that's a small thing, I guess. It's
Yeah.
not
No,
really
that
that big of
that
a
that
thing.
makes a lot of sense.
Like I don't think
Let
it's
me
crazy to play
actually.
the island. You know, there's a reason for it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, it may seem minor, but like yeah, it would have sucked, right? Like if I just went like Spire Bluff, Spire Bluff. Like, I mean, I
Well,
could
there's
see that
also
for
there
sure.
is something else. I mean, it's kind of irrelevant, so I don't know if it matters. But like, there's if you play Spire Bluff, you might make your opponent think you have a Torture Tower, and then they might like try and play a card that's better against Torture Tower. Like if they have
Oh, right. Yeah.
something, they'll be like, oh, they have Turn One Spire Bluff. They'll be like, well, they didn't have a talent or a Grand, so maybe they have a Firebending lesson. So therefore, I shouldn't play my good one drop. I'll play my bad one drop. I mean, that doesn't mean the play is right from them, but a lot of people are going to think that probably. So.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, so you probably play the Spire Bluff, I guess, and yeah, this hand's like not great, but yeah, it makes sense that it's like it has lands and spells, so just getting a feel for the deck, like you have
Yeah.
spells to cast, see what happens, take draw a card every turn,
Yeah.
you know.
So yeah, here I figured like hold up the Iroh's demonstration,
Well, it's a
and
sorcery, right?
I mean or yeah, I guess the not the you're right, it's the
Yeah,
firebending
yeah, yeah.
lesson. I actually think I got by that too. I kept thinking it's an instant at some point. I mean, I think I remember making a pretty bad play because of that. But yeah, hold up the burn spell, and then I mean, here I think I was thinking about like I'm definitely gonna cycle the accumulate wisdom at the end step here because I just have nothing else going on. I'm just curious if that's like if you think that's a good line of thinking. Or I mean, I guess it depends on what my opponent plays, but like if they play nothing, it just felt like an easy cycle. Otherwise, I guess I could have just seen an extra card first, but then I just did nothing for a turn.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it makes sense to play into like wisdom this turn. Like even if they play something that that you might be able to shock, it might be more mana efficient to go play the wisdom because like if you hit a Storm Chaser's talent, then next turn you could potentially go like talent, boomerang basics it, shock their thing. You know what I mean? Like if they play a cub, you might play the
Yeah.
wisdom anyway. I mean, you might think like I think it's totally fine to cycle the wisdom because like you have a boomerang basics in hand. You're pretty far from getting the draw 3 mode, and you have like a lot of cards like that you might want to play. But like, yeah, you could be like, oh, what if they play a creature that I want to kill? Maybe I could get to the draw 3 mode, so that's like not unreasonable. But it is kind of like how is that going to happen? Like maybe they play Badger Mole Cub, but since the Iris demonstration is a sorcery, then like, are you gonna like, kill it as a sorcery on your turn? Because if you firebending less in the Cub, then how are you going to use the Iris demonstration? Like you can't use it till turn 4 unless you wait next
Right.
turn. And then if you pass with lesson on 3, it's pretty easy that you can't cast the lesson because what if they play like I mean I don't know what people play, but like Sentinel of the whatever or like Enduring whatever. You know what I mean? Like the Enduring thing. So I
Yeah.
might just like
Yeah.
try and cast Wisdom to look for like a Grand or a talent or yeah both. I guess there are 2 talents in the deck. Either of the talents or whatever, or even just a second wisdom. Like finding a second wisdom would be really good, you know. So
Yeah.
I'd probably fire it off. Like again, there's always like upsides and downsides. Like there are potential scenarios, but I feel like because it's just about planning the turns right. Like if you just think what are you gonna do, and it's like if you hold the wisdom, it's like what are your turns gonna look like, and it's so like gonna be awkward, right? If you think it's true, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of
So
sense. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, it looks like the
So they play
reanimator
nothing.
maybe.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I think it turned out. Yeah, this one turned out to be Reanimator.
better. Yeah.
I grabbed the talent there over the land and the Iris demonstration. And then here, I think I was a little worried about, like, I don't know what's going on. Would they have a counter spell? But I played the talent anyway.
Yeah, I would say that's where deck like I think the reanimator decks play like almost no interaction at all, basically, like except for some removal. Well, there's one consideration here that you consider boomerang basics your own talent.
I thought about it, but I don't know. It just felt like, cool. I see another card, but then, I mean, I want the talent in play. I guess I would have seen 2 cards if I do that, right? I didn't really consider that, but Yeah, it crossed my mind for a second, but it just felt like that's not a good play, and I just didn't even give it much more thought.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say is that like because when you play this talent, you really want to cast non-creature spells to get looting because like the two cards in your hand are bad. Um,
Yeah.
and obviously they have like they're kind of like a ticking time bomb. Like as soon as they get there, I mean, assuming they're I
Yeah.
don't know what they are, but also like you're not really losing a card. Like maybe if they have a main deck disenchant, I don't know if anybody would have that. Then like you're kind of down a card, but it's just like the value. The thing about like in this spot is like your mana is restricted, right? Like I don't know. I guess it's back to like stock mana theory again, kind of like you
Yeah.
once you get your engine going, you can basically draw your deck, right? Like you have accumulated wisdom in your deck, you have monument. So as soon as like you start finding those cards, it's just gonna pop off. And I just feel like, what are we really accomplishing? Like I'd be asking, like, what are we accomplishing by waiting? Because you're like, oh, I don't want to replay my talent, but you're already not doing anything with the mana anyway. Kind of like right now, like if you
Yeah.
untap and draw a card, like unless you draw a spell you can cast, you're not gonna use the mana. Um, so
Yeah.
that's why I might be
It's
like,
a really interesting point. Yeah.
yeah, like again, it's like sometimes it's good to do things that are bad just because in the situation. Like that's something that comes up a lot. Is like people are like I don't want to do this thing because it's bad, but it's like are do the things that are bad about it apply to this spot? Like you're like I don't want to balance my talent because then I have to recast it, but it's like you're not doing anything else anyway right now. So like maybe that's the best way to just start
Right.
like turbocharging. Like imagine if your gold, like imagine if I said your role is to goldfish and you have to kill your opponent as quickly as possible. Like then you might be like, oh, I should go for the basics because then that'll get me quicker to goldfishing my opponent. And I feel like your role is you kind of are goldfishing them because as soon as they do their combo, it's going to be hard to keep up. If that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I guess to build on that, like, I mean, I have nothing to do next turn, and I mean, basicsing the talent might get me closer to like another 1 or 2 mana play to go with the talent coming back down. So, I mean, yeah, I'm seeing a lot more clearly now. Yeah, that's a pretty good point.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying
I
like you
feel
should like be running around your spells like a maniac, but it's like more like
yeah,
there's like two like high level
yeah,
things. Like one is like what's my role, and it's like I probably can't interact with my opponent on any goldfish as possible. And I don't know. I was gonna say something, but then it doesn't sound that interesting. Like I was gonna say like just the burn spells are so bad, I want to loot them away. But anyway, so we draw monument, so that's pretty smart draw.
yeah,
Um, okay, this is interesting.
yeah.
This
So
is
here,
interesting. You're thinking about leveling.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I wanted to level, and then play the monument on the next turn. Um, so I don't remember what my thought process was here. Um,
I
yeah,
mean, were
I
you
don't know.
scared of like this could be like familiarity maybe because like obviously like if they're Sultai
Oh
control,
yeah,
like maybe you think oh they have a
yeah,
counter
because
spell, I want to blank their counter spell, right?
yeah, yeah. They hadn't played any creature. They hadn't played like any like mill craft, cash grab, whatever. And so I was like, I think this actually might be Sultai control. So I'm just gonna level and pass. That was my thought process.
Yeah, that makes more sense because like if you know it's reanimated, like obviously if you know they have no counter spells, then like I don't know if in that situation if you'd still find it close or if you just go for one or the other. But obviously if they're controlled, then it's more tempting to get the talent
Yeah,
level
because
maybe. Yeah,
like I played the talent. I mean, when I played the talent, that was on
turn
turn
two,
two
turn three, I guess.
or
So yeah, they
turn
had a two
three.
mana counter they could have
Yeah.
cast.
So they didn't have a 2 mana counter. I figured, and I was thinking about like maybe it's
Three steps ahead.
3 steps ahead or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I would say one thing
So
is that like having like it is kind of like one thing about casting the monument here to consider like I guess a small consideration is that like just loot like just getting the looting going in general is kind of nice because like you got to discard these cards that are worthless to draw new cards to get the whole chain going. So like it's not necessarily the
yeah,
end of the world if they counter it, but like yeah, like if you feel like you're playing in Sultai control and like one of the only spells they could cast is turn 3 steps, it's like not crazy to level the talent. Though there's like also random minor stuff like I was mentioning like I might want to pick up my own talent maybe because they're probably not going to play anything good for us to bounce and I kind of want to cast it. But anyway, that's kind of like besides the point I guess. But I guess I would be like
yeah,
you're like it might necessarily. I guess my main point was just like even if they had a counter, maybe you could be like, oh, maybe it's fine because I get a loot. But like imagine like it's what I was saying about the four things. Like if you're playing against blue white control, maybe you want to like level and then wait a turn because they might not have anything they could do, but they could have like get lost maybe. So then like maybe you can get the looting. Anyway, that was kind of going for a
yeah,
while.
yeah. No, yeah,
Yeah.
interesting point. Yeah, I was definitely thinking about your point. Like that's exactly what's crossing my mind is like your example of like playing against control and like just like level and pass. But yeah, I mean, considering I have two dead cards, I think there is a lot of merit to consider the monument. That does make a lot of sense. And I mean, yeah, even back the term prior, the basics. So yeah, but yeah, I ended up leveling and I think just passing here. I was looking at the land, I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Yep, did the level, passed.
Okay. So they tell you tapped thing. I mean, it
Yeah.
does kind of look like
So by
Sultai
this point,
control. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, by this point, I felt pretty convinced I was playing against control. You know, they're just draw going the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I decided to lead with a monument here, and then do some looting, and then figured like hopefully I can draw into something decent. I think it crossed my mind like maybe to basics if I don't draw into anything, but I figured I'll lead with this.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, seems pretty straightforward. I guess just play this, get the looting going.
Yeah, and I think yeah they had a counter,
Okay,
and
so
then
you always play against
yeah
dragons, I guess.
I don't know what it is with these dragons, man.
Yeah, so there you see
Um,
Dispelling Exile. I was talking about it yesterday. Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
so
I
yeah,
think I think this is the. Did I discard the Iros? I think
yeah,
that was okay. I think I messed up there because I thought that this is why I should be reading my cards because I thought the firebending lesson was
a shock or
the one yeah, the one that that deals
oh
two
the X
plus
spell, sure.
lessons in the graveyard. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, knowing they have like a four toughness creature, I got rid of like the only spell that can
yeah.
deal with that
Well,
in
you
my
could kick
hand.
it. I mean, I was almost gonna say for a second, like the most optimal play against control is just like they both suck, so discard at random to save time. Because if you're in paper, you're gonna try and be avoiding draws. I guess online that's not as big of a deal, but like yeah, definitely in paper it's like good to play fast. I guess that's some good coaching. I guess anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah, so it makes sense. So yeah, now you can just discard the
And
firebending
then I think
lesson.
here I decided
Oh
to
no!
discard
Oh
the
no!
basic. Yeah.
Is that yeah? Yeah. I guess you
Yeah.
weren't like yeah. I mean like yeah. Did you like
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna bounce any of my stuff,
yeah?
so I was like, I'll get rid of the basics and hold this like useless spell that I thought could deal four or more, for that thing. So maybe this is like goes back to your points about threat assessment, overvaluing like the revealed information and thinking I need an answer, even though it's not an applicable answer in this case. In my mind, it was because I wasn't reading my cards. And
Well, you can
yeah,
kick it to deal
yeah,
5 damage. I think.
yeah. I guess
I
that's
don't
a
know what if its ward
possibility.
is like discard a card or pay something, but well, I would say like
It's discard a card.
okay, yeah, that's great. That's good for monuments. So they haven't caught up to the meta yet, I guess. But
Right.
the I mean the thing I would say it's like the same concept as earlier that like yeah in your head you might be like oh I don't want to boomerang basics my own thing because that's a bad play, but it's just like in this situation it's such a good play because you have monument plus talent. Like you just desperately want to cast any spell because you're just drawing free cards. Like you cast the storm chasers, you cast the talent on your you cast the basics on your artist talent, and you get like you just want that rummage so bad because it's literally free cards. Like you have the monument in play basically. Like you're so
Yeah.
desperate to cast any spell to just get that chain going. Like that's I would say like like what I'd be thinking. I'd be like I have talent plus monument.
Yeah.
Like I really want to just get the monument going. It's such pain to sit here and not do anything and not get the free card against the control deck. But anyway, you get bailed out with the
Yeah.
abandoned attachments coming to
Yeah. Also, I as you were talking, I just realized like it could also have been a potential like draw two off the monument or something like I could reset it, which is could have been interesting.
yeah. I guess you can even bounce your monument too. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So then you'd
So
have to
like
re-level.
maybe draw a card and or
Oh, yeah.
bounce it, draw another card or something. Yeah, here I went for the treasure token.
Would you do that again? I guess you were trying to look for more spells to cast.
Yeah, I was trying to look for
Oh,
more
but
spells to
you gotta
cast.
do both. So it doesn't matter. Never mind. Because you discarded two
Yeah.
cards. Yeah, yeah. Okay, good.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And then I just went for the Storm Chaser's talent. I think I might have discarded this land. Do you think that was a bad move?
Well, I would say that I mean this is kind of weird because this is kind of a spot that if you think about it, you're probably like pretty ahead here. So almost the question to start asking now is a weird like how do I lose the game or like what goes wrong for me
Yeah.
was it and like again you're playing as control so it's kind of weird So it's and you're also playing against you probably don't know that much. I mean, I would say here like no play seems like no play like stands out off the page as like that bad to me. Like I'd be kind of in that weird moment. I mean, some things to consider. Like if you're just thinking about like what's the pros and cons of playing the talent, right? And it's like, well, the rummage isn't that high impact because you have monument. It's only on the lose 3 life mode, right? Um,
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. Like I don't
Yeah.
know if that's a good. Like I'm trying to like, you know what they say. Like I don't want to just say like my opinion without explaining, but it's like I would just be thinking about. I don't know if it's too abstract. Like the pros and cons of playing the talent, and like you know what I mean. You just kind of break it through, and like the reason it might be kind of weird is because it seems like marginal, and like maybe the fact that it seems marginal, like maybe you're like, oh, like, is it actually marginal? And I guess I'm kind of saying like I don't know, like I would say that's the exercise. Like you should be thinking like what are the pros and cons of playing it? Like why
Yeah.
do I need to
Okay.
get my
So
talent down? Why do I not need to get my talent down? Like if it's a live game, I would probably say like do something at random because the clock's gonna matter more than thinking now, and like this is like probably not a decision that's that high impact on the game. Not that I'm trying to say you should. That's
yeah.
probably one of the worst advice is
No,
to
no,
say like
no. Of
rush your
course.
decisions,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I don't want to just be like this is what I would do or I analyze, but I like the way I would think about it. Just be like, yeah, what is the advantage and disadvantage of playing the talent, and like trying to think like what are the key things going on. Like discarding a card's good when I have monument, but the key modes usually are the draw card, make a treasure. Like lose 3 life if I'm not trying to kill them right away is not the biggest mode, and
Yeah.
like maybe this land can be valuable if everything goes really badly because it can like trigger your
Right.
monument by
Yeah.
itself. You might be like, what if they kill my monument? Maybe you're like, maybe the treasure is valuable. So I don't know. Like I would say
Yeah.
maybe I would lean to holding it, but it's like a very kind of like I don't know what to say. Like it's a very like minute, like marginal kind of a like the pros and cons are small. It's like small screws happening here, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess like I mean my as I'm thinking through it from like pros cons, it does feel like holding it would have been better because like what I mean that land I mean I'm playing against control. That land could be useful, and then I could possibly discard like a worse card next turn if I see my draw step. And also, I mean, it's control. They probably have nothing but like creature hate in their hand or something, and like what's a talent really going to do? Like, yeah, the 3 life doesn't seem important at this stage.
Yeah,
So
I
I
would
guess
say.
that's how I'd be thinking. Yeah,
Yeah, I would say like if you just try and quickly think, like it's not like the most maybe educational, but if you try and quickly think, what's the worst possible thing that could happen? And I'd say the worst possible thing that could happen if you play talent and discard Agna Kella, is your opponent plays like a card that exiles a card from your hand. Like let's say you draw your top 2 cards are bricks, so like you loot away this land, but then you draw like an island, and then your opponent untaps and they play like a card that exiles your boomerang, like Cruel Claws Heist or something like that. So like let's say you have no cards in
yeah,
hand left, and then you untap, and then you like draw another brick, and then you like go to level your talent, and then they like Tribebinder it or something, and now you're just like in a bad spot.
yeah,
So like I could see that like maybe the reason I would hold the talent is to guarantee like make it more reliable that I am to trigger my artist talent, my monument next turn. You might also be thinking, oh, like what if the
yeah,
worst case is that they kill my monument or my artist talent? But it's like the Agna Kella can like kind of prevent the floor of the worst case scenario. So like anyway, this is all super marginal because
yeah,
like probably it's kind of like are you a 98 versus 99% to win, but I could see like I might like maybe the fast way to fast track it is like I don't feel like playing talent's that important here if I can't think of a particular reason. Like a good reason to play it might be if you're scared
yeah.
they're gonna play a planeswalker, then you want to get a prowess creature down or something. Anyway, I was probably going too long on this trend.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of stuff I'd be thinking about. Like
No, no, yeah. This is yeah,
yeah,
it's really good.
like is there any reason I need to play the talent or can I just like whatever? But anyway, so it's
Yeah,
weird when you're playing against a deck that's like not that popular because then it's like hard
yeah.
for the same
That
situations to
seems
come
to
up
be
again.
all I'm doing lately. Yeah,
Yeah. Like if they had like a negate for your boomerang basics and then like anyway, so let's see. It looks like they have a stab, I guess.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the better one. Yeah, the dragon one.
Exhale.
The dragon payoff.
These dragons, man. Yep.
Yeah. So they
So they
play
play
another
their
tap
Restless
land.
Reeve.
They
Yeah.
pass. Okay, this is interesting.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So here yeah, I basically went
Did you like
for
consider leveling the talent at all, or were you like, I got all these?
yeah. This is straight up me like moving way too fast. I think leveling the talent is absolutely something that should have been considered here because I can make another treasure. I haven't made my land drop yet, and I have my land in hand. And it gives me an extra spell. It just gives me more gas. So I think I definitely screwed up here.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's
that's
definitely
moving too fast.
yeah, there's definitely downsides to leveling it, but like yeah, it makes sense to consider it. And again, this is like a situation where everything looks really good for you, so it's like yeah. But anyway, so it seems fun. So you
Yeah.
bounce it, probably discard one of the two cards. I don't know, pick at
I think
random.
I went for I went for the at this point I didn't care about their
Yeah,
creatures.
you stopped respecting it, I guess.
Yeah.
The dragon. So you draw like a million cards. Yeah.
Yeah, so here I don't think I valued the Grand much. I valued the Quench more because they're pretty like tight on lands. And I just felt like, oh, they're just gonna exhale the Grand, like, why prioritize a creature? So I think I discarded it. It felt kind of criminal doing that, but I don't know. What do you think? Is my reasoning sound there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable. I mean, I think late in the late stages of the game, like if you think why is Grand good, it's like what are the things Grand does good? Like number one, it gets you 3 lessons in the yard, but you already have that. Number two, it discounts your spells, but you already have an artist talent on level two, so like, and you're not like
Yep.
playing as much toward the discount. And number three, it fixes your hand, but you have artist talent that's doing that already. So like definitely like if you're not using the loot, like if you're not using the discount from Grand and you're not using the hand manipulation from Grand, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily doing that much, and like
Yeah.
it'll quench you. You know, you can imagine they might be playing a Meringue River region or whatever, so maybe it would be useful in that scenario. And like maybe they're gonna
Mhm.
play like they haven't played anything. Maybe they're just gonna play some ridiculous 4 mana card here at instant speed. So I don't know. Like it makes sense to discard the Grand because if you look at every card, it makes sense to keep the Quenchia because like they haven't cast a single spell. So I don't know. Probably they'll cast some expensive spell, and like the land might be better than the Grand because you have all these talents, so you don't really want to miss your land drops, and like you probably don't want to discard the second talent. So I think it makes sense to discard the Grand. Um,
Yeah. Cool.
yeah,
So I'm pretty sure that's what I ended up doing. I think they had a counter for this.
yeah. Counter unless you pay
Um,
4. Yep.
yep.
So I guess yeah, while the looting's on the stack, so you let it
Yeah.
happen. Then I don't know. I guess go to discard the Grand. Yeah.
And I think I went for a treasure
Yeah, I guess
here.
it's forced because you know,
Yep.
you did the draw mode. And
And
yeah, then
then
I guess you can discard the
discard
lesson,
the fire
and then like
bending.
yeah,
Yep.
let's yeah discard the firebending maybe, and then you can like play the land level your thing. We'll see.
Yeah.
Or
So
if you
yeah, I'm
lived in
not sure if
fear
that's.
of their thing. Well, do
I
you think it's
think
like a close choice here? Like, would you be like, maybe I should pass with
yeah.
counter, or would you be like leveling your thing?
Yeah. I mean, like, this is one of those moments where I should be thinking about, like, what like what's the punish, or I forget how you framed it before,
Like,
but
what can
like
go wrong, or what's the punish?
what can
Something
go
like that.
wrong, right? Yeah, like I don't know if there's much of a punish. I think I was afraid of a meringue, and I was holding up. I wanted to hold up quench because of that. I remember feeling bad about not using my mana, getting back like abandoned attachments or something like that. But
Or did you have
like
accumulated
meringue
wisdom
felt
even?
awkward.
Was it too many cards for
I don't
you?
think I. Oh wait,
Because you cast it
yeah,
on
I
turn
think I
two.
think there is an. Yeah, there's a wisdom in the yard, right? So yeah, I mean, maybe I should have just gone for that. I mean, let's think through it. Like, what's the worst thing that they could do on their turn? Like a meringue, maybe. Reset my talent and endurance.
Well, the worst thing is probably
Um,
that mill half your deck card, but I don't know if you want
oh
to play
yeah,
around
the
that.
singularity rupture. Yeah,
That's probably the worst thing that could
yeah,
happen.
that got me yesterday.
But
Um, yeah, so
so
I don't know. I guess like my instincts told me that turn six is like usually the turn that this deck does, crazy stuff. And, like, what's the rush? I can hold up quench. Yeah, I lose a bunch of mana, but on the next turn I can, grab a wisdom or whatever it is, and I'll have plenty of mana to like do stuff and dig.
yeah, I mean, I would
So that was
say
my.
like the overarching theme is like obviously mana efficiency. I don't know if you ever watched SpongeBob, like Mr. Krabs. It's just like just more money. It's just always more money. What do you like? What do you mean? What do you mean we're gonna be fine and have? It's like no, it's just more money. Like you know what I mean? That's like the mana's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
just like what do you mean like you're too mana efficient? Like that's not a obviously that can matter, but you know what I mean? It's like don't be afraid to be greedy. I guess. Um, like I mean the thing I would say is like yeah, I mean, you said earlier that you felt like something you did was you just passed with mana, like you would always wanted to pass with stuff up instead of tapping out when it's good to tap
Yeah.
out. And, like knowing when it's good to tap out is definitely a skill. And I would say that like the problem here is that like, I mean, you kind of really want to like you want to level his talent because it's not like you have like six like you don't have a like you know what I mean like you don't have anything going on, so you kind of want to level the talent for next turn. And like if you wait, then you give your opponent time to like have a Merfolk Tidebinder or maybe have like there's like a 3-man like Awaken the Dead.
Right.
You know, they could kill your talent.
Yeah.
You know, that would be pretty bad for you. But it's also just like I don't think like outside of Singularity Rupture. There's like if they play Meringue, like it's like why do you care? Because like what are they gonna do? Like bounce your?
It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, and you have Combustion Technique. Like you're just like lol, I'm gonna kill your thing. Like yeah, like what are they gonna do? Like bounce like your Artist Talent, your Monument. Then you're like okay, play Artist Talent, play Monument, cast Combustion Technique. You know what I mean? So it's like
I'm so like I mean I love this advice. I'm trying to be a little bit more introspective. I think I don't really have a good. So one thing I noticed that you do very naturally. I don't know if this just comes with like a ton of years, you know, and a bunch of repetition playing games. I zero in on like I always have like one or two threats top of mind. You seem to be a lot more hyper aware of like Tidebinder. You're thinking about like 10 or 20 different things that could that they could have. How do I get to that point? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that just repetition? Is that where?
Well, the easy way.
You start to.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to memorize every card. Like, the easy way is you just think, I'm just literally thinking what can go wrong. And I'm like I'm literally like I'm describing these scenarios and maybe it sounds like I'm thinking of some brain, like, oh, wow, that's such an esoteric scenario. But it's literally, it's like, how, like, it's just like, you just think, what are the punishes for not leveling my talent now? And it's like, okay, well, they can either counter me activating my ability, so that's Tidebinder, or they could destroy it. It was like an Awoken the Dead or whatever. So it's like, just like, what can go wrong if I don't level it?
You're just thinking about straight interaction to the stuff that you're doing, basically.
Yeah.
Like how do they respond to it or deal? Yeah.
Yeah, just thinking what goes wrong. Or like, sometimes you're like super far ahead, and then like, you're like, you just start asking yourself, like, how do you lose? Like, in the situations where you're like 99% ahead, it can make sense to play around weird things if it's no downside. And like, sometimes I played a game of Limited one time, and I just played around there's like a flash rare, and like I'm pretty good at sometimes like I just won't attack into a flash rare, and people will be like, whoa, why did you play around the flash rare? And I was like, well, I didn't think I was gonna lose the game unless they had the flash rare, but it's not like I'm like going one by one through the set. I'm just like, what could punish me here? And then I'm like, well, I don't think I can lose unless they have this flash rare, so I'm gonna play around it. So that's kind of like something like if you just think what can go wrong, or like I even did that like when I was new to Magic. Like sometimes I'd be super far ahead, and then I'd be like, what if they have a Sunder my Hellkite? And they're like, they would never have it. But I'm like, it's kind of like if you play Russian roulette with a million bullets. Like 1 in a million is a pretty good chance, but if you really don't want to lose, like it is worth considering. Like sometimes that is something like I realize some players have. I mean, maybe you don't have it, but sometimes people like kind of rush when they're ahead or at the end, and I do that too sometimes. But like.
Yeah. I do that all the time.
Yeah, like Reduke's a good example of like it's not over till it's over. Like you should treat your decisions the same because it's the most painful when like I've had that happen where like I'm tanking. Like I'd say that's my signature move. Like I'm super far ahead and I'm tanking, and then my opponent just concedes out of frustration. And like sometimes like I had a game where I think I was playing Limited and I had Flage, and I was just tanking super hard if I should cast it or not. And the guy was like watching me. He's like, "What do you mean? Just play spells at random. You're gonna win." It's like, well, obviously it's not 100% deterministic, right? So like you getting the 99% and the 100% kind of matters. Obviously, getting the mental effort does matter too. Like you don't want to like spend a bunch of mental effort on something that's like 0.001. But anyway, that's how I would answer like why I'm naming random cards. I'm just thinking about what can go wrong realistically, especially because in this spot you're so far ahead. It's almost kind of weird to say what can go wrong because like it's so far ahead. It almost looks like how do you lose? But it's like the way I can imagine losing, they kill your talent, you get super unlucky, you don't draw stuff. But like you're probably like 80% plus to win this game. Like even if they destroy your talent, you're probably almost 80-90% plus to win this game. But like maybe they have like a weird Singularity Rupture, that would be a punish. But I probably wouldn't play around it. Like I'm on the ladder, I'll be like, I'll give it to them. I don't feel like they probably have it. I feel like they're more dragons. I think it's hard to mix dragons and Singularity Rupture in the same deck.
Yeah,
so
that's very fair. Yeah.
Anyway,
so I mean, really good breakdown. Love that. But I did the coward's thing. Didn't use my mana. Held up a counter spell and got punished.
I mean, I will say one thing. Like one thing is you're talking before about like format knowledge. Like how do I play around these cards if I don't know it? And I would say like for Limited, I mean I don't know if you play like but like the something I do for
Yeah,
limited,
all the time.
yeah, it's easier. It's like when I play a set, I usually have the page of like the instant speed tricks, right? And like a lot of times, I've been punished so many times where I'll be like, there's probably no, mana leaks in the format, and then I don't play my land, play a spell, and then there's like a mana leak, and I'm like, so like I often will just like literally pull up that instant speed thing and be like, these are literally the spells they can cast right now. That makes it easier. And in constructed, the amount of spells people play is usually much smaller. I don't know. There was a tweet I saw today from like Sirkovitz, and he posted how like only like less than like basically 1%. I don't know the numbers, but he posted that it's like 30 cards or whatever, like less than 50 cards make up like 90% of the cards that see play in standard. So the actual card, like even though standard's big, yeah, the pool of cards people play is really small. So
yeah, and it was like once you get to like 80 cards or something like that, it's like 80%. Like it doesn't. It's pretty insane. But the instant speed tricks, is there like actually like a website? I mean that actually sounds vaguely familiar. I remember like I used to look at a website that would have
yeah,
them all listed
MTG
out.
Goldfish has one. Like I think it's called like they just like I always just search like MTG Goldfish instant speed trick this set. It's just like easy to look at it because like you're like, what could they have that's blue or whatever, or like flash creatures. Like flash creatures a big one. Like that's probably one of the biggest ones. Is like I can attack here. Is there any flash creatures they can have? You know what I mean? And it's like it's too hard to remember it all for limited. But like you can just look at the instant speed tricks when you're playing online, and then like for the PT, you hope that you played enough.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
That's good timing with the win a box or whatever event that's about to, I think that's tomorrow or whatever, so I wanted to grind some of those. Cool. Yeah, so they end up passing, and I have a passage in hand. I think I think I go
Demolition
for the
Field,
cumulative wisdom here.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I think I play my land, or no, I don't. Okay.
You play it first because maybe you want to loot it away. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, like, it makes sense to kind of like want to loot the land away because
yeah,
I mean,
I got confused here. I looked at their dispelling exhale.
Oh, you thought it was 3? Yeah.
My treasure token.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So just me being a dumbass.
Okay, makes sense.
And,
yeah. Because like also in these situations, like you could say, oh, this is a situation where like you have so many cantrips and things to do. Like, how do you navigate it? And it would probably like the easy way is like, well, I don't really want to discard my technique, and I don't really want to discard my quench, and like this land doesn't seem that important, so I'll discard it. Like that's kind of what I would be thinking. Even though you technically have such a big map of things that happen, it's just like you just ask like. Rather than like go through all these rabbit holes, you're just like, do I want this burn spell? And if it's like yes, it's like, do I want this spell? Yes. And it's like, okay, which spell do I seem like I want the least? Rather than like concoct some rabbit hole situations to go down. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect.
But I guess it's like kind of obvious enough anyway. So yeah, so you do that.
And then you're right. I dropped the burn spell. I don't know why I was. Oh no.
The coins, yeah. I mean, it's like kind of pick your favorite one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for draw card.
Draw card. And then bricked.
Yeah, you can see the nightmares. Now you're missing the land or whatever that nonsense was called.
Yeah, they have a reef, so I'm not attacking.
Oh, interesting, because you do have a technique, but it makes sense that like you're like, I just want to cast my technique later because I want to draw from the monument.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to see if I could do another draw because of all the lands.
Yeah, or like use the technique on a dragon or something. So so they play star charts anyway.
Yeah.
So
this felt a little sketchy, kind of vibes were a little weird here. Like, oh man, I drew all these lands there, so just had to try to kind of not.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like kind of hard to lose though still, just because like you can level 6 your talent, you know what I mean, and like they have to destroy the talent. Yeah. And like the artist talent's so good at like as soon as you draw one spell, every single land becomes a real spell again. You know what I mean? Like as soon as you draw one spell, you can just start rummaging. But yeah, obviously,
It's pretty amazing that this deck can have I can have a hand like this, but as long as I got these pieces, it's like, it doesn't feel that bad.
Yeah, you're just gonna draw your deck. It's just like it doesn't matter. Like you're just gonna draw. Yeah, you draw the abandoned attachments, and it's like a draw 5 cards. Like it's literally like you cast abandoned attachments, and you're just gonna draw your whole deck literally now that you drew it. That's like how it works. So. Yeah, like it's like you don't even care. You're like, yeah, just give me more lands. I literally don't care. Like, it's just. I mean, I used to play Phoenix, and Phoenix would just draw its whole deck like all the time. So that's just how these decks are.
Yeah, I'm not used to this level of power because I've shied away from like these
Yeah.
cantrip decks. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay,
Yeah.
I was doing that because I was telling myself I made a mistake. I don't know what
Oh,
mistake
okay.
I thought I made.
Sure,
Oh, I
sure.
should have played the talent first before playing the
Oh, to get the
tokens.
extra loot. That's what you're thinking. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was upset with myself for
Yeah.
that.
And here it's almost, this is where it's a tough balance where it's like, how do you play as quickly as possible but also not make a stupid mistake? Like, maybe Reed Duke will take his time, but
Yeah.
here I'm like, I want to get on with my life and just click buttons. So I mean, I guess I don't know if that's the best thing to
Yeah.
say, but it's like, it's worth saying because that kind of matters. Like, you have to be like, how much should I be thinking here? Whatever. Because, like, it can put a lot of effort to, like, min-max
Yeah.
everything, but also you have a limited stuff, especially if you're planning to play a tournament. Like, you can't, that's a concept that sometimes is controversial, but it's so real and obvious. It's like you have a limited amount of mental energy, so it's like better to like use less thinking when you like you don't need it as much or whatever. So yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
just
I mean, this
clicking
is
buttons.
definitely one of those positions where, yeah, it's like, all right, I have everything, and I'm just kind of
Yeah, I
going
mean
through
we
the
could.
motions.
I don't know if it's like interesting to talk about like min maxing the cantrips because I guess this is like how do I min max everything when I'm like
Yeah,
super far ahead. But I don't know if there's any like secret sauce. It's like it's just like thinking about the pros and cons of the plays and then playing towards that on the situation, I guess. And like I don't know.
yeah.
So like I don't know. Maybe I would have been.
Here,
Yeah.
yeah, no. Let me hear your thoughts. I am pretty curious about it.
Well, I was gonna say like I might have just gone for the level 6 on the talent because it seems exciting. I don't know exactly what was happening. Like I didn't see if like we cast abandoned attachments. Like maybe I would have considered going for that, but I
Yeah,
don't know if it's technically a worse.
I,
Like if they had a removal, maybe they would have. I don't see how many artist talent you have in play. Maybe it's 2 now. Yeah, it's
yeah. So
2.
two
So,
artist
but you resolved
talents.
1.
Yeah,
Like maybe you. Yeah, I don't know. Like it doesn't really matter, I guess. Like it's just like you're far ahead. Just try and think about how you can lose, I guess. Like maybe it's better to level the talent because if they crazy have Singularity Rupture in their deck, you want to get the clock on. Because maybe you're like, I'm actually less scared of them killing my
right.
talent. I'm more scared of them somehow like milling me out with like Restless Reef and Jace's, and I guess Jace isn't legal anymore. But anyway, it doesn't really matter, I guess. Like it's
Yeah,
probably better to just like whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I just passed here. I mean, I could have like played at the very like, so yeah. I guess I like the line of leveling the talent. Didn't even consider that. And then I still had the like the deal 3 damage or whatever, the 3 life in the chamber, but like I didn't bother to play accumulate wisdom. I'm trying to remember what my thought process was. Like I think I figured I could play the accumulate wisdom on their turn and get more value out of the monument. So why waste it on just like just 3 life? So I think that's okay, right? Like I mean,
Well, I
you know
think probably
it
the good
still
thing
is.
to be thinking here, like this is again a spot. It's like you're so far ahead, and it's almost like you're allowed to just laser focus on how do I lose this, and I'd almost be like, I'd be looking at my library size. I'd be like, what's the chance they mill me out? What's the chance they like
Mm,
kill all my monuments and mill me out? Stuff like that. That's probably what I'd just be laser focused on, and just be like, try not randomly mill myself out. You know, I don't know. Like maybe you want to like hold the wisdom because you're like yeah, you like get more things on their turn and not sack a treasure or whatever. I don't know. It seems kind of
yeah,
like close. I guess I would the way I think probably the best way to think about this is just be like, how do I lose? Try and think about that because there's so many other things you can think about, and I'd probably be like, I don't know. I think like the real like if you ask somebody like Javier, they'd be like, I would do something at random. Maybe somebody like Paulo might have a more articulate answer, but I think a lot of good players would just be like, I would just play the wisdom because I don't know. I don't want to think that deep and whatever. And I'm mostly thinking
yeah,
about how do I lose, and it's involving milling. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it's not answering. Oh, is it better to
yeah.
wisdom
It
now or
does.
then?
It does.
It's more like try and think about yeah like how do I lose because you're so far ahead, and then you're probably
Yeah,
like
you're
yeah
contextualizing like your thought process here,
yeah
and it's yeah in this position that makes a lot of
yeah
sense. So
yeah.
yeah, they
And
play
Chess's bargain.
bargain.
Yep.
I don't think I cared about that.
Yeah, it seems fine to just let it resolve. And 3/6. Let me see. They do have enough mana to go. No, they don't have enough mana to rupture and play this thing. They're missing 1. Okay, so yeah, I guess you can just like cast wisdom and just. You can probably kill them next turn,
Yeah,
honestly, because like they're gonna be at 8 life, and you have a
yeah.
monument, and like you'll probably find another
I think
monument.
that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like,
Yeah,
let me dig for another monument.
yeah. And look at all these lands. Like you keep drawing the lands, but it just doesn't matter. Like Brand Grands, they're
Yeah,
horrible. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
Yeah, and then another wisdom. They haven't had any counter spells. I mean, I
yeah,
suppose
I don't
they're
know how many discard modes
that.
you use, like which one you were missing. But if it was the treasure one, I could see maybe not casting the wisdom just because you're like sacking a treasure w- mode, but
Yeah,
also it doesn't
I
really
think
matter. Yeah,
yeah, I think in because like I had two discard modes. I
yeah.
went so I went draw a card, deal three, and then I figured like sacrificing a treasure gets me a treasure,
So it's
so
free.
it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, it
yeah,
doesn't really. I guess my
just
overall point I was gonna make was just that like sometimes when you have a like I was just gonna say something asinine, like when you have a treasure in play, sometimes it's like free not to crack the treasure just because you know what I mean. The treasure's like a sacrifice thing,
yeah.
but obviously here
I
it's a
guess you're
weird. You
yeah. I
have
mean,
the
you're right.
but you're gonna make the treasure, so you're like, oh, it's free if I do it now because then I get the extra treasure. So this does technically make you an extra mana because you're gonna make the treasure, so it seems fine. But I was just gonna say that thing, like you know what I mean. If it wasn't just like about the treasure thing, because sometimes treasures can get confusing, but not really
Yeah,
here. Anyway.
that's interesting. I guess also if I didn't crack it, like I could have ended up. Well, no, I guess it would have netted out to be the same.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's just like inside. Like if you weren't gonna make a treasure, then maybe you might as well untap. But since you're gonna make the treasure, it's like I guess you might as well do this and just get your free card or whatever. Like I could see sometimes considering
Yeah.
almost not looting just so that you have more cards in deck for your monuments, so, like for not decking. It looks like you have like maybe I can't tell how many
Uh,
cards, but it looks kind of thin. So, but
yeah, I didn't look at it one time. My deck size, like I wasn't even thinking about that. So I mean,
yeah, I mean you are
yeah,
kind of
here
safe from
lead
it
with a
for now,
monument.
but it's like they do have a restless reef in play. I mean you have a lot of combustion techniques, so it's probably not gonna get you, but you know, yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the one that mills too, right? Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, it's definitely something.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, he didn't set like Seth Manfield was like. I mean, he was almost deck. I think it
Yeah,
was
he
like
almost
zero
decked.
cards at one point during the worlds.
Yeah, when he had to take his take back or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. All the drama around that.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely it's. I mean, I don't know if it's that broadly applicable, but definitely for this deck, keeping in mind your library size obviously can matter to a degree because like it's a limited thing. It's like
Yeah.
more library size equals more combats. So like you have this talent thing, but whatever. That's I don't know if talking about min maxing, not decking yourself is the best thing to talk about. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I guess I don't know. The main thing is like sometimes, yeah, don't draw extra cards when you're close to decking. That was a really long way of saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean
And
it's starting
also
to show
auto
the
talent.
yeah. It looks like yeah, the
It's
deck's getting really thin. You have like 4 cards left maybe now. Let's see.
yeah. I think here, yeah, here I found lethal.
Oh, they
Yeah.
scoop. Like it it was really getting down to it. It was like 4 cards.
So,
Yeah.
so sideboarding. Looks like I'm taking out the Iros. I'm taking out the lessons. Um, yeah, the bringing in all the counter magic. At the other abandoned attachments, and
What do you think about the
I
Riddler?
think I was like,
Were you
yeah,
afraid?
I think I brought in the Riddlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking through their stuff,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that owl's pretty good when whatever. The shark
the
typhoon.
yeah, I kind of want to play that. I love that. I used to love like
Shark
Shark
typhoon?
Typhoon and yeah, and it's like Shark Typhoon with Krasis, like
Yeah.
like I loved both of those cards during their time, and yeah, I don't know. It feels like it'd be a fun thing to play. Maybe inside.
Yeah, I
Like,
could
when
see.
would be the right time to board that in? Is that like a control matchup kind of card? You think?
I feel like it would be good in matchups where either it's good at blocking or your opponent has a lot of interaction. Like if your opponent has like a lot of graveyard hate or whatever. Though this deck is like kind of a low land deck, like you're kind of a 22 land deck. So like you might not be the best at taking advantage of, casting it for 5 or 6. Um,
Yeah.
so like but like I don't know, like I mean I would imagine, like, if you're playing against yeah, if it blocks well or if it, if your opponent has like a lot of graveyard hate or interaction for your engines. I mean, it's a strong card for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's kind of
So
yeah,
easy.
yeah,
Felt
easy
like an easy
keep.
keep. Led with the Storm Chaser. I drew another Grand.
Ooh, that's controversial. Yeah,
Yeah.
what if you were playing now? What would you do?
So I just figured like the Storm Chasers, allows me to boomerang basics the next turn, and then I'll play the Grand, and they'll probably kill the 1/1 with like their exhale or whatever. But I guess like as I'm thinking through it, I have two Grands, right? So like why not lead with a Grand Grand? I mean, I don't know. It's dead. It's gonna die no matter what, I guess, right? So
I mean,
I thought like,
I would even say in general, like in general, when you're playing this deck, like, would you want to play turn one Grand Grand or turn one Storm Chaser's talent? Like, even if you only had one or whatever of the other, or you know.
yeah, I think in generally I would want to play Grand Grand, but the Boomerang Basics made me want to play the talent. That's where my head was at. And it's not like I really have anything. I guess discarding a Grand Grand wouldn't be that bad, right? So
Well, I
I
mean,
don't know. Am I off there?
what I would say, what makes you like so the talent? I guess you could be like, what make I was gonna say like, what makes you want to get the talent down? Like maybe you're like, oh, what if they have a counter spell for my talent? I want to resolve my talent. You know what I mean? Through a counter spell or like a discard spell. Like, is that kind of what you're thinking? Because I would be like, what makes you want to get the talent down this quickly? Because like you can always basics it later, right? Is it just that like you don't want them to like have, you know, a dispelling exile for it or a negate for it?
Yeah, it was more like bait so that the Grand Grand can stick. Like that was where my head was at. It wasn't really about. It was like getting the talent and the Boomerang Basics on it like is nice, and you know it does give me something to do next turn. I guess I could just do that next turn anyway, right? So maybe that's dumb, but I was more zeroed in on like the key thing I was trying to do is avoid get the Grand Grand to stick and get their like you know their 1 mana or 2 mana like removal spell out of their hand.
Yeah, I mean, so there's like a couple things going on. I mean, I would say that like it's weirder in this context because your opponent's playing a control deck, so it shifts stuff a little bit. But it's kind of like goes back to like when I was talking about defensive aggro. Like if you were playing against like a normal mid range deck,
Yeah.
it might actually be good to play the Grand Grand on turn one to make them use a removal rather than develop themselves. Like if they have to remove Grand Grand, if you play a card that like if you play your most threatening card
Right,
and then they
yeah.
have to remove it, then they have to spend time interacting with you, and you have a second Grand Grand. Compared to like right now, if your opponent played like Caustic Bronco, you don't have a good answer to it. You know, if they were playing that kind of a deck, so playing your Grand Grand,
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
argue could be better against it. I mean, obviously they could block it or whatever. So you know, but I would say the other thing is like if you just think about like if you think there's like two ways to think about like sequencing your plays. One way is like you're literally goldfishing and what's the most efficient goldfishing. And I think like if you're literally goldfishing, like Grand Grand on turn one is usually way more efficient because like you get an extra turn of looting, and the extra turn of looting is worth more than 1 or 2 damage most of the time. You know, for like a bunch of obvious reasons, I guess. Like it gets you closer to your accumulated wisdom, whatever, you know, etc. Um, so I would be like, I'm naturally tempted to goldfish, and it's like that's kind of a thing about like the defensive aggro. Like when you do this thing that lets you goldfish better, you force your opponent to interact with you. Like it kind of goes back to what I'm like saying. When you force your opponent to interact with you, that can actually be a point of power. Because like if you don't force them to interact with you, they can do whatever they want. Obviously, it's only a loot from the Grand Grand, and they're playing a control deck. So like, but like for example, like let's say they had, you know, there's a 2 mana, you know, the clue rare, like it makes a clue every upkeep. Did you have a game when you played it in draft?
Yeah, yeah. The I forget the black one, right?
Yeah.
I forget
Like
the name of it, but yeah.
Yeah, like I would say you probably don't want your opponent to cast it here. You know what I mean? Or like some sort of a 2 mana threat. So like playing your Grand Grand is better. Like I would say like you don't really want your opponent to play a threat. So playing a Grand Grand's that's like it's a form of defensive aggro. But also, yeah, I just feel like getting the Grand Grand down early is good. And like if they have a removal, like you have multiple Grand Grands, you can play it next turn. I would say like the main reason to like I guess it's a long-winded way of saying like I would be tempted to play Grand Grand because I feel like a goldfish is better just because it like it gets me the looting and getting like I want to loot as many times as the Grand Grand as possible. Obviously that could be a reason to play the talent where like if they negate your talent and then you have Boomerang Basics, it could be kind of awkward. So I don't think it's crazy. But if you have the Grand Grand in play, you get an extra loot, so it can like help you make your hand better or whatever. But that's kind of my thoughts. It's kind of like classic, like what I would say defensive aggro, like gold by like you might like actually just being like quote unquote greedy and just doing the greediest line is actually kind of smart in a way. Like people might be scared. They're like, oh, I don't want to take the cookie from the jar because then they're gonna slap me or whatever. But it's like no, like you should take the cookie from the jar because I don't know. Maybe they're like trying to analyze if you know. Like anyway, like I was gonna say, like it's like it actually is a good thing sometimes because it actually is a smart thing because it's forcing your opponent to react to you rather than like giving them time to sit around.
You've sold me. I had a Ragavan in my hand, and I chose not to play it on turn one, basically. So yeah, I mean, it's makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, thought I was being slick here.
I mean, I would say Sam Black's a good example. Like there are a few players at the PT who like people would characterize as really greedy, and they just always go for the cookie in the jar. But like those players actually do like very well. Like you know, I can think of a few examples, but like Jason Yee might be a recent example. Max Mick was an old Sam Black. Like these are people who like people will be like, wow, those people just don't give a shit. They just do whatever they want all the time. I'm like, those are literally like abnormally good players at the PT, and I think the reason why is because they're literally just thinking about how to maximize their effectiveness every turn, and they're not afraid to like do that kind of thing. So I think that's actually kind of going for the cookie in the cookie jar is a good habit actually in Magic, kind of.
I love the analogy, man.
Because it's so true. I mean, there are these players like people. They're controversial players too, because like people like don't think that highly of them, or they're like those players are so greedy. But if you just study their results, their like win rates are like very very good. Like there's definitely an archetype of I would say like the hand in the cookie jar players, and like those players do very well, even though people like don't respect them as much as like a Reed Duke or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I should probably look up Sam Black. When did he play? Like, I think that was before my time. Right?
Yeah, he played a long time in Magic, but he had a podcast called Drafting Archetypes that was like really really good. That.
Oh dang! I didn't even know he's doing a podcast right now.
No, he did a few years ago. It was like I think it was a really good podcast. I mean, I think he's a really good person. He has good like educational content about learning the game, and actually. Kind of a random side rant. I listened to like an interview from him from a few weeks ago, and I guess like one thing. I mean, I don't know if like one thing he said that was interesting, that was true, or that not true, but something that was interesting, which is about the mental game. Like he was talking about that, like he was such a like in his mind, he's almost such a casual player. Like he really doesn't care who wins or loses. Like when he's playing the game, and like it's part of makes his mental game so good when he's like compared to other people. Like I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting thing. Like they were asking him like, oh, how do you deal with a tough loss? He said like I generally like don't care if I win or lose. I'm just trying to play well, which is obviously like that's like what people would say. Oh, that's the peak mindset to be in, and it's so hard for like most people to enter it because everybody wants to win. But I just think it's interesting how he just like naturally has that. It probably is also correlated to the fact that he just doesn't care and he's putting his cookie in the jar. Because a lot of times when people are being conservative is they're like fearful, and like putting your hand in the jar is like you're not fearful in a way. Anyway,
yeah,
I don't know where I was going there, but yeah, definitely a good player to learn from. Like I would say, like if you want to get better at limited, like find his old drafting archetype episodes and like listen to it, because like the way he talks about limited is like, I think it's like it's really good. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely I'll
Yeah.
look into it. I think I've only seen like some of his commander stuff like recently, and so I've just I'm not into commander at all. But,
yeah.
Yeah, I just typecast him in my mind or something.
Yeah, it was like I would say the biggest thing that I like you can learn from drafting archetypes is like just the way he talks about limited. It's almost like he's talking about limited like it's constructed, because he'll be like, this is the blue, like he's like he doesn't say this card's good or bad, but it'll be like, this is the strategy of like this kind of like a blue-black deck in the format. This is how each card fits into it. So like he's really talking about like how to get value out of cards in these specific contexts, which I think is like really important to understand in limited. Like it's kind of obvious as it's like cards aren't good or bad. It depends on the strategy of the deck. And he's really good at like, a lot of people that get in trouble in limited because they're like, oh, Supreme Verdict, that's an amazing card. But if you're playing a blue-white humans deck, then it might not fit as well in there. And he's really good at being like, he's really good at like getting value from bad cards, because he's really good at being like, this is what my deck wants to do, so this is why you want this card. So not to go too much on a tangent, but it's like, it's really good, because it's like, I think it's, if you want to be really good at limited, it's really important to like get value from the worst cards. And he's like, that might sound kind of weird, but he's like very good at like getting value from the worst cards, which is like, but like, yeah, that's just like really important in limited. And the way he contextualizes like, this is the strategy of my deck, this is why this card would be good in my deck, whatever. Like you could say the deck you're literally playing in standard right now is like a very Sam Black kind of deck, because you have Grand, you have all these cards that are bad, but he's like, Grand, like these cards are good in my deck for these reasons, because like this is a strat, like blah blah blah. So like you literally are playing like what I would call like a Sam Black kind of style deck, where like you're using bad cards but they work well together because they fit in the deck. Like most people would be like, oh, Grand sucks, but it's like, well, what if you do all these things around her? And it's like, oh, okay. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah,
that's what you can learn from that. I don't know why I went on a Sam Black rant, but anyway.
No, that was awesome.
Oh yeah, I was talking about the cookie jar. Yeah, and he's a very hand in the cookie jar. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of interesting here. Yeah,
I led with Boomerang Basics.
For the price,
my options are basically could have played a land first. I don't think that makes sense.
Yeah, as long as there's no syncopate in the format, I guess, or like counter unless you pay one. Jwari.
Yeah. Possible, I guess. Yeah, I guess. I mean, this. Yeah, they destroy the enchantment here, so it just like, I get screwed up.
Yeah.
And then I attacked and played a Grand.
Yeah, this all seems reasonable. Yeah. like it's a good skill to like not overthink when you don't have to. It's like, well, might as well play a pre-combat to get the prowess, and you kind of want to play the Grand this turn. Yeah, so they have Malicious Eclipse. Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah,
then
name
here
red.
I think I make a red.
Yeah, makes sense.
Play the monument. Pass.
Yeah. Pretty straightforward, I guess, and then see what they do.
Yep. They have this fountain port now.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting turn, I guess. Yeah, they do have any. Yeah, like I mean, even.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. This is kind of tough, right? Like, I don't really want to play any of these cards because I don't want to lose my Grand to the Abandoned Attachments. I don't want to cycle the Accumulate Wisdom. I guess I see an extra card if with the Endurance. If I play the Abandoned Attachments, and I'm discarding Grand here, right? If I'm going to do that, because I'm like I'll be one lesson away from Accumulate Wisdom going online. So,
yeah, I mean, I would say the easy way to describe this turn, like this is what I would call, this is like a good classic turn where there's like a lot of trade-offs happening. Like there's a lot of tension because you want to do a lot of things, but you can't do it all. So, like, you know, the thing that's tricky about this turn is like obviously you want to play Grand, but if you play Grand, it's not the most mana efficient thing. So it's like, okay, that's one thing. The other thing is if you play Grand, like you want to hit your land every turn abstractly. So the problem is if you play Grand and play your land, well, the problem is then if you go to cast Abandoned Attachments, then they can, you have to discard this Accumulated Wisdom. So maybe you don't want to do that. But, and also, like, maybe if they have a Dispelling Exile, like the counter unless you pay 2, then, like, maybe because there's so many counter unless you pay 2, in the back of your head, you have, like, oh, maybe, like, if I cast Grand and then cast Abandoned Attachments, maybe they're going to counter unless I pay 2 my Abandoned Attachments. So you kind of just need to, like, surface all these different tensions in the side. Like, you're like, maybe you're like, oh, like, you know, maybe you're like, okay, how much do I value the land? Maybe in this case, I'll miss a land, so I go Grand pass with Abandoned Attachments. Or maybe you're like, maybe you'll think like, oh, I'm fine to play, like, maybe you're like, I'm fine to play Grand and discard this Accumulated Wisdom, because if I resolve attachments, I'm going to draw so many cards, because I draw an extra card, and I have a Grand in play. But, like, so I definitely think it's close, because, like, I can, like, intuitively for me, the first play, like, that I would want to do, because as I'm piecing all these puzzles together, like, I was like, oh, I kind of want to play land, pass, and then, like, on their upkeep or their end of turn, I would cast, like, Abandoned Attachments, and then maybe I would cast Accumulated Wisdom after, and, you know, kind of, like, the reasoning for that would be, like, that way you get to accomplish, like, you get to hit your land drop, and you get to cast Abandoned Attachments versus a counter unless you pay 2, and you get to, like, be mana efficient. But, like, then if you also... But then it's, like, maybe being mana efficient doesn't matter that much, because, like, maybe you want to cast your Grand because you have a Monument in play, so casting Grand can be good because of that. So, again, like, you can see there's, like, it's kind of like a Jenga tower, and there's, like, a lot of pieces, and just, it's good to just be aware of the trade-offs, because, like, you don't need to have the perfect play. You just want to make a play that kind of makes sense and isn't, like, a disaster for no reason. Yeah, I don't know if you have any...
So I think the play where you're playing land and passing feels pretty good, and, like, I mean, they have this fountain port too. They're probably gonna. I mean, I can actually kind of see, like, you know, maybe hold the land, and I mean, I guess missing a land drop sucks. Yeah, I didn't want to miss a land drop. So, but the line that you described where you basically just pass with Abandoned Attachments up sounds pretty good to me. And there might be a window where, you know, they're going to tap out for the fountain port, and I might be able to just play it anyway. I guess I'm kind of priced in at that point. Like, you know, I'm not about the grand life. Yeah, I'm kind of all in on the Accumulate Wisdom at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could make like a weird argument where you could be like, oh, if you cast Grand, like you could say, you know, do I feel low on resources? And it's like, if you cast Grand, then maybe you give your opponent the ability to, like, use an interactive spell. Like, interact with my Grand in a way that, like, is kind of annoying. Like, maybe they have, like, a Caustic Exile, and then, you know, you let them 1-for-1 with that, but maybe, like, they're up on cards, so you don't want them to 1-for-1 like that. Or maybe, maybe they just play a blocker. Like, if they just play a dragon, you don't have any removal for it, and then your Grand... I mean, she can still loot, so it cycles, basically, so it's not that bad. But anyway, like, yeah, it seems fine to, like, play a land and pass, and, like, maybe you could play Grand and discard the Wisdom. You know, to be honest, it seems kind of close. But like the wisdom, like the thing about the wisdom is like the thing is the thing about this, yeah, the wisdom is like you're kind of like low on like you kind of like want to find more gas that's hard to interact with. But I don't know, it's kind of weird, I guess, because like you have this monument, so you really want to find more ways to trigger monument. Grand like half triggers monument. But anyway, like yeah, and yeah, they're gonna go for kick consult the star charts, too. So
Yeah, it's a good point. So I did, I think, probably the most embarrassing play. Like pause the stream, like don't show people. No, I'm kidding, but I think I played Grand, waited for them to tap out, and then discarded my accumulate wisdom to the abandoned attachments.
Well, that could be the best play, because you because that way you get the discount on the Grand, right? Like you have one spell, so you play Grand, discard the accumulate wisdom, draw like 3 cards or whatever it is, and then all your spells are one less. So that could be a good play.
So yeah, like that's what I was aiming for. But yeah,
I mean, this seems fine because like the thing that's weird about this situation is accumulate wisdom's almost good, but it's not exactly good. You know what I mean? So it's like, but it seems fine to discard it to me because like the Grand's pretty good. Like yeah, I mean, I think this just makes sense. Like you're gonna draw 3 cards, so like, whatever. Yeah, so seems reasonable. Yeah, now you're hoping to draw something. Okay, you're like, oh, okay.
Yep, keep it on land.
You're like, man, I wish I have that land they played. Yeah.
So here I'm like, all right, might as well just.
Oh wait. Do you see the problem here? I don't know if I should have even.
No.
Think about it. They duressed you.
Okay. All right. So they duressed me. Oh. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I just.
Yeah, the monument. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the monument. Yeah.
So like you gotta just cycle. They discard spell pierce and you draw a new card. But obviously that's kind of a weird interaction. It's not really strategic. Like if you realize that, obviously you let it resolve. It's just the interaction of the cards.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that at all. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to spell pierce this, like assuming that monument didn't have that text.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that feels bad. Now, like I just completely missed that. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, monument stuff. Yeah, it's definitely weird. So now they see it, and then that was a good draw. I should say a smart draw. Okay, I guess were you just like gonna start the turn on an attack, I guess, or
yeah, start with an attack and discard the Spire Bluff.
Yeah, it seems reasonable. Draw a card, I guess. Yep.
Draw a card.
Man, talent's so good because you can just yeah, play the land because in case they have Dispelling Exhale, tactically. Let's see. Okay, they have negate.
Get negated here, and that's kind of it for this turn.
Yeah. So they duress you. Yeah, duress is like can be awkward if monuments in play, I guess, but it's kind of good against the no creatures act. Okay, so
I think I messed up here because I basically sacrificed the Grand, and I think I should have boomeranged it, right?
Well,
yeah.
Are you like, what do you get out of this attack? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the problem is if you boomerang your Grand, you can't get an attack in, and you like the attack's worth like, isn't the attack worth a lot to you here?
I get a card out of it, right? So like I get to loot and draw off the endurance, and that felt valuable enough to me to.
Yeah, it seems like.
Away.
That seems like really high value because like you got to draw 2 cards by attacking with the Grand because like the Spire Bluff's basically useless and you got to trigger the monument. So it's like you're not really throwing it away. It's like you're casting a 0-mana divination kind of, and also like you're like by using a threat you're manipulating what they can do because like it's not like they're literally have nothing that like if you don't make them double block the Grand, then they could just sack the fish to draw a card. You know what I mean? Or they can just like.
Right.
You activate their looting land. So you're literally being like, okay, now you have to spend your turn activating a fish. I'm going to trade with a fish, which costs them a turn to make the fish. And it just seems like if you boomerang your Grand, like what do you accomplish? You draw 1 card. Whereas if you attack with Grand, you draw 2 cards. And then you can boomerang your own monument if you're really that desperate to get the 3rd card. Like the boomerang's going to cycle. But just being like, yeah, attacking with the Grand's high value and like, even if they had like a 5/5 in play, it's probably still going to attack with the Grand because it's just a draw 2. That's the loot. Yeah. So anyway, so you attack.
And here, they
go for it.
They choose to do the double block.
Wow, that's a nice draw. It's like the fun is over. Yeah. It's like, wow, this was gonna be a fun game, but now it's like, oh, I guess it's over. Yeah.
Um,
So, well, this was
did
interesting.
I
This was
make my land
interesting.
up
I
here?
don't know if you thought about
Yeah.
leveling it for the grind. Uh,
Yeah. So yeah, I had already made my land. So I think leveling it here probably was correct. Another case of me just moving too fast, getting too excited and stuff. But yeah, I was like, oh, maybe I'll draw into something. At worst case, I'll play another Storm Chasers, but then I'll end up with just a
yeah.
bunch of unused mana, I suppose.
I mean, this is the classic concept of like. This is the classic concept of like, oh, like it seems mana
Oh,
inefficient
yeah,
to level.
I did,
Yeah.
actually, I might have. I did have another land drop to make. So,
Yeah. So you got to level the
well, let
talent.
me hear what you have to say here. Yeah,
Well, I was gonna say the concept I would use here is like this is where like you're like, oh, leveling my talent's not the most efficient turn I could have. The most efficient turn I could have is boomerang basics and then like draw something good. But the thing is, as it stands, you know what I mean? If your top card's a land, like the fact that it's mana inefficient to like level a talent doesn't matter because you don't have anything else to do anyway. Like that's why leveling the talent's good here. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm saying, oh yeah, you should run around and level a talent every chance you get. The problem is, yeah, you're gonna waste. Like if you boomerang basics your talent, you're wasting mana anyway. Because if your top card's a land, and then you play it, you're gonna have 2 dead mana anyway. So it's like, yeah, you're more efficient, but like it's like cutting a tree in the forest or whatever. I mean, not really, but it's like you're more efficient, but it doesn't matter because like you're just not using the mana anyway. And it's like, why do you need to take the risk to be ambitious of drawing something? Like just level the talent, get your ancestral recall or whatever, and yeah. But that's the concept because it comes up here, like probably in the back of your head, you're thinking like, oh, I want to do like it's not efficient to level the talent, I want to do the most efficient play. But again, it's just mana efficiency. Like it's always just mana efficiency. It's like it actually is mana efficient to do the mana inefficient play because you're not going to do anything else anyway. But yeah,
yeah. So I want to say, I mean, as I'm thinking through it, like, yeah, the most mana efficient and probably the most timely is this doesn't play around Spell Pierce, but it does play around like the other counters that I have seen. Is level the talent and play the accumulate wisdom, and I mean that I don't know that feels like it would be pretty good here. I'm not sure if there's much of an. I mean, I could play another 1/1, like another talent, I suppose. Like level and play talent, and end up with 2/1/1s and like try to keep the pressure on. I guess that's another play there. Yeah, I'm not sure what I did end up doing. I want to say,
also I'll
yeah, I
say
ended up
one
doing
minor
basic.
thing. I just realized a huge blowout that like if you don't level the talent here, because I was thinking like, okay, what's the downside of like not casting the accumulated wisdom here? And it's like, well, what if they draw like a graveyard hate card that exiles your entire graveyard? Then you can't get the full draw 3. But it's like, wait, if they draw a
Oh
graveyard
man,
hate
yeah,
card,
yeah,
then you can't level your talent anymore. So, so
yeah,
that's
yeah,
kind of like an important rush to do it because like, what if they have, I mean, I don't know what they could have, but if they have some card that like a heritage, like imagine if they draw a heritage reclamation, the card, the disenchant they played, and you level a talent, and then they go exile it, draw a card, and you're like, oh shit. So yeah,
yeah.
Grave.
That would be so depressing. That'd be yeah. And of course, obviously don't have the mana to do it at this point, and I just play a bunch of Storm Chasers talents and hold nothing up with my
Yeah,
2 red mana.
yeah,
And that's me.
yeah. So we'll see, like if they cast a meringue and bounce 2 otters, but now it looks like they're just slowly scooping. So I mean, we'll see. Maybe they have an instant speed thing, like a Tidebinder would be good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be really brutal. Yeah, I mean, this is just all bad, right? Like I just
Yeah, I mean, it seems fine to
put
cast
everything
this
in.
because like you kind of want to hit your lands and get your prowess triggers. If they counter this, it's like okay, that's fine. So this
Yeah,
seems reasonable. Yeah, they have the Spelling Exile, but you're like, okay, I gotta swing for 6 at least. Then,
yeah. I figured I'll
yeah, and like if
level the talent again next turn.
yeah, and they like they're drawing cards, so like they're trying
They're
to
gonna
look for a
draw
board
it.
wipe or a meringue. Yeah, like if they play a meringue, they could
Yep.
maybe stabilize. Okay, they're looting.
This felt pretty good to see main phase loot.
Yeah, not as good as
You
meringue.
know,
But yeah,
and yeah,
makes sense.
that
They
was
scoop.
pretty much the end of that one. Yeah. So cool. Let me see. I got another one.
Yeah, I
Um,
just gotta fill my water. I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
yeah. No worries. Take your time. Welcome back. Um, don't remember what this matchup was, but I guess we'll find
Okay,
out.
this was interesting. This hand looks interesting here. I let's see. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember if I kept
Well,
this.
if you were playing now, what do you think you would do? Keep or mulligan?
I think I would. I'm on the draw. I think I would keep because I mean I know it's got a lot of lands, but like the worst case digging with the wisdom and just cycling it like doesn't seem that bad. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I don't know if I'm going
that's
too
kind of what
far
I
with
think.
the analogies here, but I feel like keeping this hand, it's kind of like if you have an army of 100,000 troops and you're going to lose to the army of 1,000 troops. Because it's like you have all this wealth, so you're like, I don't care, I can do whatever I want. You're like, my deck's amazing. But, you know what I mean? Like it is weird mulliganing when it's a good deck, because it gets in like people's head a lot. Like some people will be like, oh, my deck's really good, I need a mulligan like crazy. Or some people will be like, oh, my deck's really good, I don't need a mulligan like crazy. But I would say the
Yeah,
problem with this hand is that, like, the first problem is, like, you're playing 22 lands for, like, a reason, right? Like, obviously you have Artist Talent and Abandoned Attachment, so you can discard the lands right away. But, like, you don't want 5 lands in your opening hand, ideally. I mean, if it was, like, if your hand was, like, 2 Artist Talent, or, like, Artist Talent, if it was 2 other spells, that could loot it right away, I'm not saying that you have to mull all 5 landers. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like,
yeah,
the 5 lanes are pretty awkward. And if you think how the game's going to play out, like, Talent's like a pretty low impact card in your deck. It's almost like a half a card or a support card. Because, like, most games that you're winning with, like, Talent, Monument, or Draw 3 with Accumulate Wisdom. So, like, you're not really winning with Odd or Beatdown.
yeah.
So it's, like, it's almost like half a card. And it's, like,
Right. Yeah.
the problem is, like, so, like, turn
On
1, you're
its
going to play
own,
Talent,
yeah, not
which
great.
is fine. So, like, okay, that's a pretty good start. Your opponent's sweating there. It's going scary. You send in the first battalion. But then the second turn, you're gonna play Accumulate Wisdom, and it's kind of like, is this a trap? What's happening? Like, okay, well, no, there's just like, I mean, they're not gonna be, they don't know it's up yet, but they're just like, okay, like, they're not sending their best military in yet. It's just the Accumulated Wisdom, and obviously turn 3, it depends what you draw. So you see, like, you're on the draw, right? So you've drawn, and I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if Seth Manfield would keep this hand or somebody like that. Okay, so I'm not saying like all good players, but like, if you think about like the way this hand's going to develop is like, so you go turn 1, your turn 1's okay, whatever, your turn 2 Accumulate Wisdom, it's not embarrassing, but then turn 3, like, your curve is so low and you're just like, you don't have that many plays, and like, I can imagine turn 3, turn 4, you're just going to run out of stuff to do, and like, you have so many cards that are so broken to play early. Like, part of why this, like, I think Grand Grand's like kind of broken in this deck, because like, if you play Grand Grand and play Monument, it's just like, you know what I mean, that's like really a powerful interaction or whatever. Like, you don't have Artist Talent,
Yeah.
you don't have Monument, you don't have Grand Grand, and like, the Wisdom's like a good card, but you're like not using it well. Like, it would literally like better be a banner attachment here practically. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm thinking it's more like thinking how the turns are gonna play out, and it's like, I just don't feel like we're gonna do anything that powerful. And like, if this was 6 cards, maybe it's closer. I'm not that afraid to mulligan with this deck. Like, if this was 5 cards, I'd say, sure, keep whatever, keep lose. But like, like, if you also, I would say, like, if you saw this hand on 6 cards, like, how would you be feeling? Like, would you be like, oh yeah, I feel good about this hand? I mean, obviously you're gonna be biased now
Yeah.
because I was just ranting about how bad this hand was, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I mean, so yeah. I mean, definitely after everything you said, I would not feel good about it. I was thinking about like I think I would probably keep like a 4-lander with these 2 spells. It doesn't feel like there's a plan here though, right? Like I'm not winning with this hand. I'm basically playing off the top of my deck, and maybe hoping to turn the Accumulate Wisdom into something better. But yeah, I mean it doesn't feel like a good keep. That's for sure.
yeah, but I would say that like
So yeah,
I don't know if you've ever like mulliganing with feet, like these kind of decks can be hard, and like sometimes it's confusing because like probably on the one angle, I mean, I don't know if you were thinking like about this, but like sometimes people are like, oh, my deck has a lot of cantrips, therefore I should keep looser hands because my cantrips will tie it together. But actually, the reality is more like the fact that your deck has so much more cantrips kind of means that like you can't afford to really fuck around that much. Because like you really want to like
yeah,
the cantrip should mean that like your draws are good, not that you have to like the thing I realized with Phoenix was that like people would keep hands that were like like I guess it can help to almost think of this deck like Amulet Titan kind of, or like Dredge, or like kind of an unfair deck, because this deck's kind of an unfair deck, right? And it's like if you kind of think of this deck as like an unfair deck, and like you're like, 1 second, yeah, if you think about this deck as an unfair deck, then it can more accurately be like, oh, it's not like Accumulate Wisdom. Like, then you can more accurately see, like, oh, I don't have the right setup to take advantage of Accumulate Wisdom, and I'm also far from taking advantage of it. Because your deck's really built, like, I mean, I don't know if I need to go that much deeper, but, like, if you start seeing this deck as more like Storm, Dredge, Amulet, like, it's an unfair deck, and it's not like I'm just casting spells, but I'm really trying to assemble a thing, and this is far from assembling this thing. And the reason it's bad is it's like, it's just unlikely to assemble something powerful, so it's likely to just like be slow, roll over, and die. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if you're playing Dredge and you thought, I don't know if you played enough Magic to like play against Dredge a lot, but this would kind of be like a hand that has like that's like a bad Dredge hand where like you're just gonna lose to a fair deck because you're too far from getting your engine online. So I think that's like an analogy to look at it too. And being like, the fact you have a lot of cantrips in your Dredge deck doesn't mean that you should keep hands just because it comes together. Like, it's like trying to make your hands operational. And I guess I would say, like, for the mulligans thing, like, I would be like, probably another thing is, like, you see a hand like this and you're like, well, this hand's not that good, but maybe it's not worth mulliganing. And that's when I'd be like, well, if I saw this hand on 6, I would also feel like I'm going to lose. I mean, at least personally. So I'd be like, I wouldn't even be happy to see this on 6. Like, I might even mulligan this on 6. But... yeah.
So I mean, I do think like I mean it's really interesting what you just said about like cantrip decks, because I do think that crossed my mind in the moment. Like, you know, hey, this deck, you know, draws a lot of cards, and that weighed in on my decision.
Yeah. I guess like an easier way to say it, it's just like the fact that you have so many cantrips, it means that you can't afford to mess around. Like, you really have to be doing everything on curve. Because your deck has literally, you have abandoned attachments and artist talent, so you don't have time to mess around. Like, you have to be, even though it seems counterintuitive, because you're like, oh, those cards mean that I have time to mess around, but it's like, no, like, you have to like get stuff going fast because you don't have tempo or whatever. But
you don't have tempo. That's a good way of putting it. Yep. So I think I'm playing against. So I don't know, like I'm not familiar, you know, with these cards in Standard. I mean, I know what this does, but you know, I think this is the artifact deck, but I didn't really piece it together.
Yeah, it could be like a pixie deck or an artifact deck, you know.
Yeah.
Or like
So I think I might have just decided to
get the damage
this off. And get the damage, and you know, see if I can get something better. Put a lesson in the yard. Oh, I guess I decided not to.
Yeah, it seems reasonable. I mean, there's an upside and downside for both. Like, if you pass, you have more information, I guess. Yeah, here you wish you have the Abrade for the for the Ingrid metagame.
Yep.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I guess one thing to understand too is like, it also helps with mulliganing. Like, just assume your opponent's gonna have a good, like, this is a good help maybe, or a good way to think about it. Is like, assume your opponent's gonna have a good draw, because if they don't have a good draw, the game's gonna be easy anyway. And when you look at this hand, like, you're probably like, oh, it's gonna be hard to win if my opponent has a good draw. You know what I mean? I don't know if that, like...
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I feel like people too... Yeah. And, like, because here's the problem here. Your opponent kind of, like, they played a turn space synthesizer. Like, this is something that happens. Like, I feel like... And sometimes what might make people hesitant to play, like, the best decks or the tier 1 decks is that, like... like, it's good to realize that, like... Let's say the most broken deck in a format has a 50... Like, usually, like, the most broken deck has between a 55 and 60% win rate. That's actually not that big of an edge if you play a lot of games, right? Like, if you play Hogak or Nadu and you're winning, like, let's say 57% of the time, that means you're losing a lot. And that really, like, messes with people's psyche or whatever. Because people will be like, everybody says Nadu's so broken, but, like, I just lost a bunch of games. And it's like, well, you realize, like, 57%'s, like, not actually that high of a win rate. You know, in a way, like, you're gonna lose a lot of games, and you ask like, how do I lose games? And it's like when you like deconstruct, why is my deck good? It's good because it's doing the most powerful thing, but it's like other decks are also doing a powerful thing. Like, everybody's trying to do something powerful, and here that like Simulacrum Synthesizer is a really powerful card. Like, if you want, like, you know what I mean? It's just like a absurd card. So you're kind of getting punished because your opponent's doing something powerful and you're not doing anything powerful. So yeah, it's good to be like aware of like. It doesn't mean your deck's bad. It just means they're doing something powerful and, like, it's working for them in this, you know, situation because, whatever reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely feel that here.
Yeah, because here you're like,
Yeah,
oh man, it's just basically game over. Doesn't my deck suck? Is their deck broken? Like that's why people always like get tripped up on all these like best decks because they have a hard time contextualizing all the bigger picture of like on average or whatever. But yeah,
yeah. Um, it's Grand versus Accumulate Wisdom, and I think I went for the Wisdom here. Um, I mean, thinking through this, like, I mean, I think there's merit to taking the Grand, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. They already have whatever that card is, the thing that makes creatures. But yeah, I was thinking like, well, the Grand, like they're probably gonna play like a Pinnacle, whatever,
yeah.
just like exile the Grand, the token. So I'll just take the Wisdom, and then I'm like pretty much one lesson out from being able to play it for full value.
Yeah, I could see taking the wisdom to like dodge the removal. I mean, the thing about Grand is like it lets you double spell next turn. It's mana efficient. And you're kind of are like behind because you're trying to race this like synthesizer. But it seems reasonable if you're like I
Yeah,
don't want to give them a target for their removal. I mean, you do have these otter tokens, but obviously Grand's a more premium target. Like I can see the argument for taking Grand is like if you feel behind enough that you have to try and double spell, and maybe wisdom if you feel like oh yeah I think I can win a long game. Either way, it seems pretty bad. Like I feel like the win rate's bad whichever you take. So yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
Also, the
thought
fact you
about
have
it for
so
a
many
while.
bad cards can kind of be a alluring part of Grand, because like even though like like if you simplify it and you're like Grand equals drawing 0 cards because it's a loot, accumulated wisdom equals drawing 3 cards, then you're like then you're like oh wisdom sounds really good. But if you're like my hand is horrible, so the looting's more like actually drawing a card, it can make Grand seem better, I guess, which is yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
But
Um,
anyway, yeah. So let's see. So
Here so I cycle the other wisdom
yeah, I mean, I guess that's
thing.
like the theme. The theme of that is just that like a lot of Magic is like trying to find like people. I mean, it's kind of like a cliche when people say finding exceptions to the rule or whatever. But a lot of times it's like understanding why something that's like not usually true is true in this situation. Like usually accumulate. You know what I mean? That's something to like keep in mind, right?
Yeah,
Like what's something like it's not just don't just always assume like everything's static, but always being like why might the average situation be different in this situation based on the context of the game. But anyway, yeah. So you can't trip here, and you see Talon and Boomerang, and I mean, yeah, did you like? Let's see, like, yeah, are you thinking it's close or?
so I mean, like I could take Talent. Um, I mean, I already am able to like recur one wisdom with Talent. The Boomerang basics, I think I don't remember what I took, but I'm thinking it through here. I feel like Boomerang basics, and then just play it on
Synthesizer?
their simulacrum or whatever it's called. Probably seems good. Like it gives me a little bit of tempo. It allows me to crack the wisdom for full value next turn. Maybe get myself back in this game. Um, like that seems kind of like the maybe the. I mean that almost feels like the only play for me at the moment. But I don't remember what I ended up doing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree because it's just like the lesson is so valuable. Like bouncing their thing is valuable. Getting the third lesson is valuable. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
But usually I don't make the right plays here, so let's see what I did. Looks like what did I do?
Oh, you took the basics.
I
Oh, you
bounced my own
bounced your own
thing.
thing. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because like that
Yeah.
was my first thought too. But it's like yeah, bouncing the synthesizers here is kind of nice because they play. I mean, it comes to standard, but they play the collected company card. So like if you bounce it, then like they have to spend
Right.
a whole turn, replaying it basically, and then like that buys you
Yeah.
time, right? So yeah. So anyway,
Yeah. And yeah, it's possible I'm thinking of that play now because I don't know, I probably saw them play it and now like I know what to expect a bit, but yeah.
well, it looks like their turn was
Um
pretty horrible, so
Yeah.
our win rate's going up, I
yeah,
guess.
so they did nothing, missed a land drop, so they can't play their whatever it's called,
Yeah.
the battlefront thing.
Yeah, and it's also being like it's funny because like yeah, like bouncing your own thing does draw a card, but like maybe it's just trying to get there was the wisdom. But anyway, yeah, it looks like you're like wisdoming here,
Yeah.
so just to see if you can find
Yeah.
artist talent or something good, or I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, you have no.
exactly.
I mean, I guess I don't even know. Like it's just because you have to do it, and
Yeah.
okay, I guess you find a grand, and yeah, you can just play this stuff, I guess. I wonder if I guess Council doesn't tap it. Does it just enter tapped? I don't know. I guess I'm about to see.
Yeah, it would enter tapped.
So it doesn't trigger
but-
Grand. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it triggers it. I think we'll
Yeah. It would just
know
be
for sure right now.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay, they split up.
Which is kind of what I figured that was gonna happen.
That was a smart draw.
Yeah. Wait, is that the fourth wisdom right there? Or?
Yeah. I guess so. I mean, technically, you could have, if you're gonna cast Wisdom, maybe you could have cast it first, but I don't know if it matters. And yeah, you gotta get the discard to hand size, which is nice. This all seems fine.
Yeah.
And now you're probably gonna win, even though I kept saying you're gonna lose and that your keep was bad, and that every play you did was bad.
Yeah. So I think I think I've learned something interesting here. I think I discarded and then.
Oh, you can
something
do
weird
the loop, like you do draw card and then it goes to clean up again.
Right. Yeah. So what is that? Because like, I mean, is this like some weird in between turn or something?
No, just because like it goes to clean up, so you draw. There's like 2 cleanup steps, I guess, but like it's not 2, but like I don't know the specific rules, but it's like the game's like it's your cleanup step. You're going down to 8, down to 7, and then I guess it's like still in your cleanup step when you draw the card, and then it's like you need to go down to 7 again.
Oh.
I don't know the exact
Okay,
rulings,
yeah.
but that's kind of what's happening, right? Like it's like wait, but you still have 8 cards, so you need to discard again because your turn's not over.
Yeah, pretty interesting. So I find the talent here, and so, all right, where's my head at right now? I think it's talent, level it. That's 5 mana. I have 2 still with the treasure, and I could play abandoned attachments and maybe make another treasure, and then hold up the combustion techniques for. Their potential, let's say they play, like, I think the worst thing that they could do on their next turn is play Battlefront and then make 2 big artifacts. And if I remember correctly, they have a way of giving it haste with,
Yeah, there's
cool.
yeah, there's like a horrible haste card. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
the fire
so
crystal or something ridiculous.
I don't know like exactly what it would take to piece all that together if they have the right mana and stuff, but I'm thinking talent, level it, play abandoned attachments, make another treasure, hold up 2 combustion techniques to kill their artifacts if they end up making them.
Yeah, it seems reasonable to level it. Like, it's definitely can be kind of interesting, like, when you should level the talent or not. Because, I mean, obviously leveling, it's like, then you have more discounts in the future, but it's like, do you really have to do it? But, it seems fine enough, like, to do it here. But, I don't know if it's obvious, but it seems, like, fine to do it. Like, yeah, just play the talent, level it, play the abandoned attachments, probably discarding your end step again. And, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true, huh? Well, abandoned attachments, well, yeah, because I'm drawing, right?
Yeah, because, like, maybe you'll find a Grand you want to cast, like, might as well main phase it. Maybe you'll find, like, another thing. I mean, yeah, maybe you discard Firebending Lesson here, Iroh's Demonstration, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, discard that one, because, yeah, like, I probably wouldn't, would want to keep the land.
I think I messed up here. Yeah, I made a treasure token. Oh, because I'm going to discard to make it and draw. I think that's what I was thinking.
Well, you could, like, draw first so you have more information on what to discard on this card, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It also does get confusing. Like, when I was playing this deck, I would, like, lose track of, like, how many stuff I chose or whatever, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably draw a card.
This deck in paper is going to be wild. I'm just realizing, why did I do this? I don't know what I was thinking.
You're getting greedy. Your hand was going in the wrong cookie jar. The wrong kind of greed.
What I was thinking.
Maybe you got confused, like you already drew a card, or maybe you're like I want to max Lethal. You're like, maybe if I do, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I have enough cards. I mean, maybe it doesn't matter because you're like, you have enough cards, but yeah.
I mean, I definitely saw that I could draw, and I chose not to.
Yeah.
I wish I could pretend, that there's this, but I
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah. Like, when you're looking here, you're like, yeah, I'd probably rather draw a card because, like, oh, and you have the quench, you can cast it. Yeah, they don't have. That's pretty nasty. The 1 quench. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, they kind of handed it to you. They really sat there and did nothing for like 10 turns. So.
I know. Like, I mean, this is
Oh no! Yeah. Look, you never want to draw cards. What's happening?
I don't know, what am I doing here?
Maybe you got scared of decking because like you almost decked last time. I don't know. Yeah, because here you actually ran out of stuff to cast. I mean, I mean, you can level the talent, I guess, and then get it all going. So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just playing like a fool. Yeah, I mean, I want to make excuses for myself. I don't want to make excuses for myself, but I'm probably thinking here like, um, I'm gonna, yeah, I'm just gonna play this next turn, so I might as
That's
well get
good.
more mana or something. I don't know.
I mean, it's good you level the talent here. I was gonna be like, good, your hatred for it's not too high. So yeah, yeah, you just ancestral. Maybe you play a Grand. I don't know. Here, there's
Yeah.
it's kind of like, yeah. So here it's just like, yeah, let's just see what happens. I guess just clicking buttons. Maybe
Yeah.
you can boomerang basic. Like here, I mean, I guess it's good like when you have a lot of options to be like, what is the only thing I'm actually really thinking about? And I guess like the only thing you're really thinking about is like, what should I boomerang basics? Like, should I bounce their synthesizer? Should I bounce my own thing? Whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's like it's like good to be like I have 10 cards, but that's really the only thing that really actually matters here. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the right play?
Grand,
Like it feels like you're gonna win no matter what, but I don't know. Maybe you can boomerang basics their thing because you're like not afraid of running out of cards or whatever. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah.
Yeah, so I already tapped out the monument, and I guess I was thinking like, let's not go to discard. I might as well play something.
Or yeah, play the talent now so you can attack with it next turn. Oh wow, there's a 1 mana monument to endurance. That's pretty good. And then you can just do it all
wow,
again.
Yeah, nice. I don't even remember this.
Yeah, nice standard deck.
I remember feeling very overwhelmed. I think this is the second match I played with the deck.
Yeah.
And just feeling like, what the hell is happening? Should I play this here? I'll get more value with double monument next turn. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having more fun than watching
Too long.
the Riddler deck from yesterday. That's for sure. Oh, this is good. This is like, yeah, this is good. But you can see the difference. Like this deck, when it's drawing too many cards, at least it has a real plan compared to I'm just gonna keep splash portaling my Thunder Trap. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe that deck's good, but that's just the vibe I'm getting. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's like when you're overwhelmed with decisions, it's kind of good to be like, what really matters here. And it felt like like the only real decision is kind of like, what should I boomerang basics? Because otherwise, like maxing your monuments like not that hard to do. Casting your 1-drops, like your only real like even though you have a million cards, your only real decision is like, what do I bounce? And it tells it like, I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter, maybe bounce their thing, and you're just thinking what can go wrong. Because I feel like, yeah, like rather than being like I have a million options, it's like most of them kind of yeah. So let's see. United Battlefront.
I made a lot of misplays with the monument here. I mean, I didn't know, or I forgot that there was only a single quench in the main, so I was like looking for quench that didn't exist. I probably could have burned them down by 6 and just tried to end the turn by their next turn. But yeah, just a lot of
so they Star Cage. So yeah, they let you have some more fun by trying to fight back. I mean, you could have floated man off the treasure. Maybe you got confused by the kid. Maybe it didn't give you the chance. It looked like it didn't even give you the chance to respond with the treasure, which is funny. But anyway, now your combustion technique deals 19 damage, so it's like deals more damage than Obliterating Bolt or whatever you had yesterday. So yeah, I mean, you could potentially kill them this turn if you have another monument, I guess. If you find this, yeah, you do.
Yeah, so here's a monument. I think I do find lethal.
Yeah, it's just lethal as long as you, yeah. It should be lethal here. You just kind of need to click some buttons, I guess.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just being a little greedy here and just trying to get max value out of the monument.
Well, to be fair, when I was playing this deck and like it was these kind of spots, I would just like click whatever options came up first because I wasn't even thinking at all. I was like, I was just like waiting for them to scoop or whatever. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, just looking. I mean, I could have just passed and killed him here. I don't know. Like, what am I doing?
Well, like, it could be like a good habit to be like, well, I'm just gonna might as well get my value because like, what if they have some crazy thing that stops them from dying? But yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely like I was playing like, hey, I don't know what could happen. I'm just gonna, I don't know these, I don't know this format.
Yeah, they could have Angel's Grace or whatever. So I don't know if you played Modern with Angels.
I'm not even familiar with.
Okay, it's a split-second card that says you can't lose the game this turn. I don't know if you.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do know this card. Yes.
Yeah, it's like the best.
Yeah.
Like, what if you think what could go wrong? It's like one of the cards that will come to top of mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Dun, dun,
So
dun.
we've got the firebending lessons and the Iros demonstrations. Brought in a null. The other it'll crunch you and the negates.
Okay, good.
The
The spell
spell
pierce.
pierce, and I think I might have. Oh, a braid. I realized, like, what am I doing? I should bring in a braids.
Yeah, cause yeah, you're probably like you think of it as a burn spell, and you're like, oh, it hits artifacts. Okay, that's pretty good.
Right.
And yeah, the cards to cut. I mean, you could maybe even consider Riddler over some burn spells because like they might be like pretty low on creatures.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it could be better than
Looks
like
like I was
some.
hovering over it. But
Yeah, you're just deciding like how many
I ended up.
combustion. Like maybe you're like I don't know how much removal I should have or whatever.
Yeah, I remember thinking like, yeah, the combustion techniques.
Oh no, the grand. Oh no, the grand grands are coming out. Yeah, I mean it's probably your first game. You're like, this is legendary, right? So. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there it is, another five land hand.
Yeah, you have to learn to be greedy. Like, just pretend, like, when you see these hands, just be like, what if my opponent's hand is good? I mean, obviously here it's, like, a little bit different, because you're like, oh, I have negate for Synthesizer, so I can do that. Okay, you do mulligan it. Yeah. Like, I don't mind. I'd be like,
And
you
then
know, the 7 wasn't, like, yeah, probably ship it back, and then you're like, okay, pretty good, pretty good 5, I guess.
5, and I think I drop a land, and maybe a Boomerang Basics or an annul.
Yeah.
I think it's a null, right? In this case.
I mean, I would say like it's kind of, you know, it's a kind of a close choice. Like you could make it's like not obviously bad either way. Like, you know, if I was playing live, maybe I would, like, it's like okay, what's good about Boomerang Basics? Boomerang Basics is a little bit all in because, well, if they kill you, like the Boomerang Basics, it's not really that you want it here. It's that you want to discard it to Grand to have another lesson. But there's like a couple problems with that. Like, number one, you're pretty far from 3 lessons anyway. So, like, yeah, you have this Accumulate Wisdom, but you're probably just going to have to cycle it anyway. Number two, if they have a removal spell for your Grand, it's like, the Boomerang Basics is going to be, like, awful. And so, like, if it was me, I might be like, you know, my intuition would be like, oh, maybe I'll just play a null, probably cycle the Wisdom on 2, and maybe, like, try and just play, like, kind of a fair game. And, like, you know, I'm not that, like, maybe you feel like you're behind on 5 cards, so you need to take risks, but I wouldn't be, like, that freaked out yet, because, like, I mean, it's a weird thing to say, but, like, I was going to say, like, you draw a card every turn, but, like, this deck's kind of good at operate, like, you know, this, like, Phoenix used to be a deck that actually mulled pretty well, because as soon as you assemble your engine, nothing matters anymore, if that makes sense. And it's, like, I'm not saying that means that, like, you should mulligan to infinity, but that's basically my point. Like, I'm like, what's the upside of keeping basics? You can discard it to the Grand. It's like, I'm not even that crazy into the discount, because I feel like I'm going to cycle my Wisdom anyway, and, like, Annul is pretty powerful against their deck, like, countering a 3-drop for 1 mana is pretty good, and so that's why I would probably bottom the Boomerang, but, like, if somebody kept it, I wouldn't think that's, like, a horrible play. Like, I would imagine their logic is they want to try to get the 3 lessons faster. I just wouldn't value it as high, because I feel like in this particular case, we're far from it, but, like, I could imagine, like, some pretty good players might keep it or whatever. Yeah,
no, it's very good reasoning. And let's see what I did. Yeah, so I did end up deciding, you know what?
Yeah.
The annul is... Yeah, you know, I think I did think about, like, Grand getting killed. Would be bad.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Draw a gate.
Yeah, they play...
This is, like, super weird. I mean, is this a Jeskai deck? I don't even remember seeing...
I imagine they're, like, blue-white splashing red, maybe, for something. Yeah. But, yeah, they're trolling you, so...
Yeah, I was like, what is this?
Yeah, that's why you need... It's gonna take the Abrades kill it, at least, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just... I mean, it's good. It's such a blow because it blocks your Grand too. Should have kept the Boomerang basics, I guess.
Why did I play that main phase?
Well, because you can't play it on their turn, right? Because they have the village.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of an interesting choice there because, like, maybe you can take the land because, like, missing a land's bad, but maybe you're like, I'm just going to take Artist Talent to try and get something going. So, I don't know. I guess it's, like, a pretty tough because, like, they used Vault to 5, and now they just made your 2 counter spells irrelevant, and they made your Grand irrelevant. So it's pretty tough, I guess.
Yeah.
So taking talent, I guess, is fine. You're like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna take talent, try and loot away these counter spells. I don't know, tough spot.
Yeah, I was basically thinking like, all right, it's a key piece. Like
Yeah.
I'm able to at least play the wisdom. I might even just like let the grand die. I'm not sure, and like do more looting. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. They got their starting town. They play a relic. So I think I just played the artist talent and passed. Is there merit to trying to hit a land drop here?
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy to like cast abandoned attachments and like hope to hit a land, but it seems fine to play talent. Like obviously the talent like it's kind of awkward if they like United Battlefront into a removal spell for it or whatever, but I mean, it seems like fine to play it. You know what I mean? Like, but it seems kind of close. I don't know.
Yeah.
This happens. They white Aura Sight. Yeah, that was a good. That guy was overrated and limited. No, I mean I guess he was good.
I used to pick it pretty highly.
Well, no, it was good. I just I'm a hater, so yeah. I mean, I guess you just like discard one of the counter spells. You're like, yeah, the expensive one, I guess, and you could play that. I guess like it's not like bouncing one of those things is gonna be that good for you. Yeah, and then you just pass.
Yeah.
And you'll see. I mean, maybe if they have nothing, then we could win. But it'll be hard if they have anything good. I mean, that's not the best thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Not the worst, not the best. They seem to be stuck on blue mana, I guess.
Yeah, they don't have any open blue mana.
Yeah, they can't pop their relics. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm thinking about
Ooh la la.
playing the yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy. They got to
Even
draw
here,
from the relics.
oh yeah. This is that was pretty good for them. Yeah. Yeah. Here I basics so I could wisdom. I guess.
Yeah.
Whoops.
And then you draw 3 main phase. I mean, I guess that seems reasonable.
Yeah, I accidentally fast forwarded.
Yeah.
Draw 3 main phase.
It's kind of funny because they dealt with their
I
own
did it.
village voice or whatever that thing was called, Grand Abolisher, so you can actually have a chance.
Yeah. Like I could have held up. I guess So I
maybe
decided to do it at the end of their turn, and hold up a null. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you were playing now, like, do you think it would be close this turn? Like, would you like play the top? Like, what do you think you would be doing if you were playing now on this turn here? Like,
Yeah,
this...
I mean, they're tapped out, right? Like, I mean, it feels like it's probably better to do it while the getting's good. I mean, they could. I know that they ended up playing the simulacrum, so like, I don't know. I ended up annulling that, and like, I was definitely thinking about that when I passed the turn. So like, it felt like, hey, hold up. Like, if my wisdom gets countered, it's not the end of the world. I have another one, but like, having the option to play it at the end of their turn and then holding up a null seemed pretty good. That was my thought process. I think I still feel like that's the way I would play it now, just thinking through it. But I do see a lot of merit to main phasing the wisdom and guaranteeing the draw 3. I mean, I think that would, if anything's going to help me get back in this game, I guess it's guaranteeing that, and then starting my next turn with a bunch of cards, I suppose.
Well, I guess I would say, like, the thing is, like, let's say you play you want to play talent now. I would say, like, what do you think goes wrong if you play talent and pass? Like, not a trick question. Like the simplest thing.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. They do nothing and then just counter my wisdom at the end of turn. I guess that's one thing. I mean, that doesn't seem that bad. They play something that the annul doesn't hit. So I guess United Battlefront, right? Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, I guess I can't really think of anything that would go wrong. Maybe.
Well, what about from like a mana efficiency standpoint? Like, I would say that's like, what's like a way this turn goes like mana inefficient because you play like talent and pass.
Yeah. So play talent, pass. They do nothing,
Well, just like once the way like you don't use all your mana because you decide to play talent and pass and like you have a dead mana.
I can't think of any situation where that would happen.
Well, like
what am I missing?
Well, what I mean by dead mana is like you play the talent, right? Like so you play the talent and pass, and if they play something you need to counter and you annul it, then you have a dead mana. Like, do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah. Okay, got it.
And what I'm saying is kind of, I mean, every previous time I was like, oh, you should just, like, every previous time I'm like, you should have tapped out here, you didn't need to hold anything up. But obviously this time it's different because you have an annul or all artifact deck. Like, my intuition is like, you know, they might play something you want to counter with your annul, but I kind of want to spend my mana to resolve my accumulate wisdom, because, like, I'd rather play accumulate wisdom plus annul this turn than Storm Chasers plus annul, because, for, like, random reasons. Like, number one, maybe they have Graveyard Hate, maybe they have a counter spell, but it's just more mana efficient. Like, even if it's just on the simplest level. And it's like, why do I need to get this talent down? Because obviously there's like a trade-off happening, but it's like, yeah, why do I need to get this talent down? They're at 18 life, and it's like, do I really need to get a 1/1 prowess right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
when they have 6 cards and 7 mana.
Yeah, no, that
so
makes
it's like,
perfect sense.
Yeah, the component is like mana efficiency. It's like, I'm always like thinking about being mana efficient. I'm like, I kind of want to, like, I can resolve wisdom, and also wisdom's has good synergy with mana efficiency because you're gonna draw a lot of cards, so then being mana efficient is gonna matter. And it's like, but you can hold up the annul because it's like, if they play a synthesizer, it's pretty important to counter it. And like, it's not like playing the Storm Chaser's talent's gonna have that big of an impact on the game, because again, it's like asking like, why do I need to play the talent? You know what I mean? Like, what's it really doing for me? Like, do I really need a 1/1 prowess? You know what I mean? So like, I'm not saying you have to be 100%. Yeah, like, I'm not being like you have to be 100% efficient and you have to go like accumulate wisdom plus slam talent. But it's like I would probably lean to playing the accumulate wisdom and hold up the annul, so that way I can resolve my draw 3 and play the talent. Yeah, later.
Yeah. I didn't even. I wasn't thinking about this properly at all because the talent was such a default play for me that I'm like, oh, it's just a talent and then do something else. Yeah, I mean, playing the talent, you're right. I think for sure holding up the annul with and then playing the wisdom is correct. And also, I guess this isn't as relevant, but like as far as Graveyard Hate, like these decks probably play Rest in Peace, right? Like just generally speaking.
That's what I guess. If it's a white deck, I would guess they would have Rest in Peace. Maybe they'll bring it in. Yeah. Maybe since they're an artifact deck, they would have a weird artifact thing, but you know, probably Rest in Peace. I don't know. Maybe they'd pick an artifact.
Okay, so I guess like that is one thing that could go wrong, even like with this, assuming like I was, for whatever reason, like I did the talent, then I started thinking with my brain. I'm in a pretty bad spot if they like Rest in Peace with like counter backup or something. Like both of these die. The accumulate wisdoms just become useless. So that's another pretty big punish that I hadn't thought of. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. So you play that, you pass, and they play like Synthesizer, and you annul it.
And then look, they do have Rest in Peace mana here, so I actually think that's okay. No,
they play another 2-mana white spell. One of the most depressing cards ever. Not even Wall of Omens.
I think they okay. I feel like they play Rest in Peace at some point. Maybe I'm thinking of a different game.
Okay, but now it's time to let it rip, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. So wisdom here.
The thing that's better about this deck compared to the Thundertrap Trainer Splash Portal deck is you'd have to keep thinking about what to take with Splash Portal. But like this, I mean, with Thundertrap, but here it doesn't matter. You just do it all. So, you know what I mean? You just draw 3. There's no choice. It's way better. So, you know, and it doesn't matter when you have Talent Monument because they're just dead. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to pick anymore. Like, you just click buttons and draw your deck. So, okay, so you draw Agna Kella. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess you play this, which makes sense because like seems reasonable. Might as well. You see the talent, and you're like, okay, maybe I should go for talent. I mean, you have the Agna Kella you could activate, but you're like, yeah, this is probably fine. Whatever. Yeah. Seems reasonable. I could see it being better to activate the Kella, but I guess it's like it's not like bad to do this necessarily. So.
Yeah, let's talk through that. Okay. So looting with the with the Agna Kella. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's mostly like if they have another like Seam Rip, and then they like Seam Rip your talent, and then you have to like throw away your Spell Pierce. I mean, it's kind of like that's what I was thinking. I'm like maybe you just loot this turn, because again, it's another situation where it's like the more exciting play is to play the talent, but you're not going to use your 2 mana anyway. So like maybe you can just loot
Right.
whatever, and then like next turn you can go for the talent, like make a treasure end of turn or draw a card or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
But I don't think it's
and
crazy to play the
Spell
talent,
Pierce-
but yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, it's just very likely these two are not gonna these two
yeah,
cards
And, like-
in hand are not gonna be
Yeah.
used.
yeah, and also like so it's just like they could just like seam rip whatever. So yeah, they play this, and you're like, oh, should I spell pierce it? I don't know. I mean, maybe I would spell pierce it because I'm scared of them like hitting a seam rip for my artist talent. And they have a synthesizer, so it could
Yeah.
actually get kind of interesting here.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like if they find a removal spell for your artist talent, it's gonna be like pretty rough for you.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty over by that point.
Oh, here's a rest in peace.
They
It looks
find a
like.
rest in peace. Yep. Okay, so that's when that comes in.
And also, it's kind of funny because if we countered it, if they don't have a land, maybe we could have made that so they can't activate the refurbished whatever.
Yeah.
Also, it's nice that you have
No, I
exactly
have to-
7. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to play it now while the
Sure.
rest in
Makes
peace is
sense.
on the stack.
Yeah, discard Spell
Discard,
Pierce,
I
I guess.
think. Spell Pierce,
I don't know.
yep.
And then it's just like maybe draw an extra card. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I went for a draw.
It is funny that if we Spell Pierced it, we would have drawn. Would we have drawn the Quenchia, and then we could have double countered it? But I guess that's pretty fringe.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because like it didn't even see that's the thing. I got to remember like these counter spells, could be used to trigger
Artist talent just to like cycle it or
like
whatever.
artist talent. Yeah.
I mean, it worked out fine because they hit Rest in Peace, so then like you could use your technique. But like I could be like, oh, maybe I want to Spell Pierce this just in case they hit, removal. But I guess you
Yeah.
could technique the thing or whatever. But anyway, I don't know if it was made it with a better play, but it's like it just randomly worked out. Like I did think of a good metaphor recently because I know like it's still like what boomers would say, like or maybe Silent Generation would say, picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. But I was thinking about that. Like I've seen people like they'll literally do something that's like they'll bet 99 cents on something and then they'll win the dollar, but it's like like that doesn't mean it's a good bet. That's just like a good metaphor of like how it's not a good bet. Like if you bet 99 cents on something and you win $1, that doesn't mean the EV was like good. You know what I mean? So that's like that kind of helps me think about the distribution of like, because that's I mean that's always the mean. Like people always say, don't be results oriented thinking, don't think about the results. But that's like such a easy way to phrase it, like such an easy metaphor is like, yeah, just like.
Yeah.
If you bet 99 cents and you win $1, that doesn't mean it was a good bet. It just depends on, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I like that.
yeah. Like the risk matters or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
With my monument here.
Yeah. Like,
Would you think that was the correct play for them? Like, what? Like, if I was on the opposing side, am I taking monument or talent there?
well, it makes sense that people intuitively would pick Monument because it's more expensive. But I could, and like, it kind of does make sense because like talent gets, if they have Rest in Peace in play, your talent is worse. Like, obviously it enables future monuments. I don't know. It's kind of like, I would have to, like, you'd have to sit down and think for a bit because it's kind of funny, right? Like, Monument's like the more expensive card, so you're like, maybe it's better, but Talent's the card that like enables you to cycle through your whole deck. So
Yeah.
maybe they should take the Talent, but also you have this Agna Kella whatever in play. So I'm not sure. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like both tough for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
And it can depend. It can depend on the number of cards. Like part of why the talent's good here is like you have like 4 to 5 cards in hand, so like you have so much to rummage away. So like probably from your side, you're actually like, oh, my talent's better because I have so much nonsense to rummage away. But like if you had like less cards in hand, then like the less cards you have, the more important the monument might be, because then the more value you get from like the less value the talent gets or whatever. But anyway,
Right. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
so we'll see. I mean, yeah, here you have the
I felt
classic
like-
option again. You're like, should I level it here or not? Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, I would definitely think about it for a second. Like, it's not obvious. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. My thought process was level it, play the monument. That's 5 mana, and I'll get to see another card. And I guess, yeah, I don't know. I like actually, as I think through it, maybe that's not as good. I mean, the other plays are Agna Kella or just. I mean, I don't know. What are you thinking in this spot?
Well, I was just thinking from
I
your
guess there's
situation,
also-
like, Yeah, you have the option to like. You just need to think of like how all the ways your turns can go. It's like one of your turns is like you can go Monument, activate Agna Kella. Maybe that's better than having a discount because it's kind of like earlier. Like the most explosive turn might maybe involve leveling the talent, but like you don't have any way to use the mana after. Like you go level the talent, play the Monument, then you have 2 mana up.
Yeah.
You only have 1 draw, I think. Yeah, you only have 1 draw, and like maybe you don't use the mana. So like Agna Kella's not that exciting, but it does draw you like 2 cards because you gotta like draw from the Agna Kella and then get a trigger on the Monument. So I might do that.
Right.
I don't think it's like. Yeah, like I might do that, I guess, and just try to activate the Agna Kella and just try and get the ball rolling that way. And like once you have the Monument in play, like you're gonna have so much mana next turn anyway that I don't know if you're like missing. Yeah. So I could see doing that, but yeah, they have the 7/7 and like a planes in hand. Also, I don't know how the craft works. If they can start crafting these bricks, if they can do that, that's kind of scary, I guess. But it's not that scary, I guess.
I don't remember the text.
What
on
the
this
clay?
card, but. Yeah, your play is basically.
It has like the
use
more
all my mana.
consistent.
I
Yeah.
get a lot of value. Yeah, out of the Monument. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I don't feel like
see
level.
it.
Yeah. I don't feel like leveling talent's like that important in the deck. Like I did see like when Stats was doing a lot on camera and whatever, but like I don't think like you have to be like I have talent down. Like because I noticed you were leveling it up. Like I don't think you like have to level it. Like I think a lot of games you can just play it and like not level it, and it's like you kind of need to be thinking about like just your turns and what's more efficient or whatever. But like I guess what I'm saying is like I don't think you have to be. It's like a super high priority to level the talent necessarily in a lot of spots.
Yeah.
Like obviously it depends, but like. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a lot of times good to just be like, fine, you can chill on it. Next turn you don't really need the discount necessarily, and if you do, you can just pay because you're gonna have like 8 lands. But anyway, so yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Looks like you're tanking. Yeah, there's like that chocobo going around, I guess. I don't know.
I definitely got trigger happy with this talent leveling.
Yeah. So you play this. Yeah, I mean, you really hate the mountain because maybe I would have discarded the passage intuitively, but
I know I don't know what happened there, but
yeah, you just hate the mountains.
I think I'm quenching anything here.
Yeah, it seems reasonable. Especially, I mean, you said you don't know what the Clayfire Bricks does, but I think it might have like a 6 mana activated mode that like flips it. So that anyway, okay, so yeah, they have the birthing pod in play, so they're kind of popping off. But you could still win as long as you like. Find an Abrade next turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking it seems reasonable. Like maybe you could consider chumping it, but it seems reasonable to take it. Yeah, the Star Cage, the 8 mana mode. I guess you're looking at. It's kind of funny. I guess it only makes 2/2 robots, so yeah, not too bad. Okay. Wow, that was fun. That's funny. Okay. Never mind. They didn't cast the spell. They just did it. Yeah. You have to like go for your Agna Kella main phase.
Yeah.
I gotta say, not playing the land. Like I don't know if you get anything by playing the land. I don't know if you just played it out of instinct or out of panic.
It was out of instinct. I should have waited on that for sure.
Yeah. Because like you don't really get anything. Yeah. So yeah, you play talent. You start rummaging. You rummage this away, and like you can see how you're like not getting any value from like leveling the talent because like you're not. Yeah, you haven't gotten any value yet. It's just now there's some. So yeah, there's a second Monument.
Yeah, for a second I was considering like countering my own, just
Storm Chaser. Yeah. But yeah, you hit a. Yeah, you might be able to win here if. Okay, this is interesting.
I think I ended up not doing this.
Yeah, because like it seems good to play the second Monument here. Yeah, just play the second Monument and so try and hit a spell, and probably counter. One of the spells, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's like, the quench is better if you're going to counter your own spell, and negate's better if they cast anything. Yeah, each opponent loses 3, and I guess you can just pass. Yeah.
Yep.
See, okay, they do that.
They pop this thing.
Okay, do they just make robot? Oh, the Rest in Peace, like, probably stopped it from doing anything, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so they pass.
They just, did nothing, basically.
Yeah.
I think the negate actually ends up coming in handy here, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, if they cast something, it's so good for you. Like, you really need them to cast something. This. Okay, they play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So negate comes pretty handy. I guess you're gonna have to choose because it's like it is almost tempting to choose the lose 3 life mode if you drew something good. I guess if you draw something bad, maybe you just have to take draw a card. But if you like draw something good, yeah, because like one of your outs might almost be to burn them out, but I guess it's too far away anyway. So you negate that. Then they're getting good value from tapping your guys down so that you can't block with your otters. Kind of funny, I guess.
Yeah.
They can kill you, I guess, if they have the bursting pod. They can bursting pod for a removal spell. Like maybe you should have jumped last turn. I don't know.
They could have done that, right? Like, I mean, I'm kind of.
Maybe they don't have a removal. To be like, it depends. I don't know if they have a 2-drop. Like, it looks like they might not have a 2-drop, but you know.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, they don't have the.
I tried their deck once, and like every time I tried to tutor for something, it wasn't in my deck. Okay, so this happens, and yeah, it's just like trying to find. Okay, actually, yeah, maybe you're able to.
Here I have lethal.
Yeah, wow, this deck is so good. I mean, I guess you're missing like one more spell. Oh, they gain a life, but maybe that doesn't matter. So yeah, you do this, and then yeah, I guess you can activate Agna Kella on their turn, and you just go lose life. They go to 9.
Right.
Upkeep. Yeah. Oh, you even find an Abrade.
I found an Abrade, so.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of nice how like you could just deal 20. Like they're at 15 life and they're just dead. It's just another nice point of this deck being broken, I guess.
Yeah, this deck just like I mean, look at all the bad plays and it just like still wins. It's just insane. Yeah, and then just.
Yeah, going for lethal, I guess.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. You're getting Arena's giving you the timer. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, super slow playing. Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Do I have another one? I think I do. This is probably the most embarrassing one. This is the first game I played. Hold on, let me open it up. Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Forgot what deck this was.
Yeah. So. Okay, looks like a pretty. I love it when it's an easy keep. It's just you don't even have to think.
Yeah.
The only decision is like what do you bottom here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I bottom the wisdom. You know, just having or maybe a land actually. I think that's what I went with. And I did that one because it would come into play tap.
Yeah.
I guess.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's definitely it is kind of close here, like between wisdom and land, I feel like. Like I feel like if you asked a lot of good players, I could see it being pretty split. But I do kind of like bottoming a land and just like being like because getting to 3 lessons seems pretty powerful and like one thing with these cantrip decks, actually this is something weird I realized sometimes with like low land count decks. And I realized it when I was playing the mouse deck in standard. Like it like intuitively like you don't want to miss land drops, right? So like intuitively sometimes you want to like keep more lands in your hand. But like if you're playing a deck like a low land count deck with 22 lands, like you're playing a low land count for a reason, and it kind of pushes you into like it makes sense to bottom a land because it's like there's a reason your deck's playing 22 lands. Like you tend to want lower lands, and it's like the reasons for that are like sometimes it's downstream of being a low curve. Like something I realized when I was playing the red aggro deck in standard, like sometimes I'd keep this third land and then I'd draw more lands and it was really bad. I'm like, oh, my deck's curve is really low. So like if you go back to like what can I draw each turn, like when you're playing this deck, you can either draw lands or spells. And like if you have a low land hand, but like you have cantrips, then you can just cantrip into more lands. Whereas like if you draw more lands, do you know what I mean? Then like.
Yeah.
Like low lands is good synergy with cantrips or like being low curve. Anyway, that's not too much, but it's just like that's something to keep in mind. Like that's one thing. It's like what should I bottom? It's like well my deck is playing low lands, so maybe that is a slight push. Like I'm not saying you should be like a maniac with the lands, but yeah. Anyway, that's kind of a funny thing. Anyway, so they play talent.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
So you finally have a serious opponent showing up.
Yeah. So here's the mirror.
Yeah, and. Yeah, like let's see, do you slam Grand here? You're kind of pausing. Maybe you got distracted in real life, or maybe you were like thinking deep thoughts. It's one of the two.
I don't know why I was taking there. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, like you could be like, oh, I don't want to let them use a removal on it, but like probably you just have to like run it out. I don't know. Then you get another Grand. here it's kind of interesting because it's like
another
you could,
Grand.
yeah, like, yeah. Did you?
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I guess you said it's your first game. I don't know, like now, like, do you find the play like kind of
I don't know,
close or?
I don't know. I guess I'm under pressure, and I mean, I can see like I rose demonstration this thing, or I could hold it up, you know, in case they have like a boomerang and kill all the tokens. I guess actually that wouldn't work.
Well, you can do it on your next
'Cause it's
turn. Yeah.
surprise.
As long as
Yeah. So I mean, given that, like, yeah, I don't know, Grand maybe multiversal tapped seems good. Um, Trying to think of like what alternatives there are. Yeah, it's holding up the demonstration for this one seems kind of weak.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like, well, it's like a sorcery, so you can't, I mean, it's like, I guess the first option, yeah, you could be like,
that's right. Yeah, I keep forgetting that.
yeah,
Like,
the thing I would be thinking about was like demonstration. Like, I think the kind of thought I would have, because you're like, oh, should I, kill this talent or not? And well, it's a sorcery. I mean, it sounded like you weren't that tempted, but it's like, well, if they boomerang basics their own talent, it's gonna feel so bad if you use the demonstration now. I mean, already you're trading down because you're using 2 mana to kill a 1 mana card that leaves an enchantment in play. But it's also like,
yeah.
It's also like, yeah, you don't need to like care about it that much. Like, you can take 2 or 3 damage, and it's like there's so many things. Like, even if they play a Grand, you might rather kill a Grand. Like, yeah, it's like, yeah, you probably don't need to kill this thing.
Yeah.
But you could even be like, what goes wrong if I kill it? Like, literally, it's just boomerang basics. It's like, oh, it would have been nice to get the Pyroclasm mode. And yeah, like the other option is like Grand or Accumulate Wisdom, and again, like I could see playing the Accumulate Wisdom just for the mana efficiency and like trying multi-spell later. Because like, look at your hand; it's all 2-drops. So like, you're very limited on the amount of like. So I would maybe just like cycle a 2-drop and just try and be like like the double, because you can think about the way that your curve plays out. Like, if you play Grand now, think about your curve. It's like you play Grand now. Next turn maybe you play a 2-drop, and then turn 4 you play 2 2-drops, and that creates 2 dead mana because you have a dead mana now, a dead mana next turn. Whereas if you play a 2-drop now, then you don't have any dead mana. Obviously, you're like, oh well, like you might be thinking, oh well, Accumulate Wisdom doesn't really do anything. It's just cycling, and like playing Grand's powerful. I want to get it down now, but it's just like a mana efficiency thing, and it's like cycling the Accumulate Wisdom's not that bad because like you're so far from having 3 lessons. Just work towards it. It's like one of the scary things they could do. Like they could it digs you to getting your talent down or your monument down or whatever. Just finding an airbending lesson or whatever.
Yeah.
But mostly mana efficiency. But anyway, so yeah, we'll see what happens. So they killed your Grand.
I mean that was pretty cool. The way you just kind of played out like the cascading effect of like the mana inefficiency. So yeah, I ended up playing multiversal tapped Grand.
Yeah, I mean I don't know the best way to be like. I mean I always like maybe like it's just like obviously I keep always talking about mana efficiency, but you can really think of like. Really internalize like when you lose mana, like taking it as pain. Like if you want to read an article, I think there was an old article called Stock Mana Theory that will like really make you freaky about mana.
Let me write that down.
Yeah, I can find the article. It was like by AJ Soccer from like 15 years ago or 20 years ago, and it's just called like It's basically about like why being mana efficient's good, like written in an article that explains it. And I don't know. I don't know how.
If you could find that article, you said it was by AJ
Soccer. Like
AJ
yeah.
Okay, I think I found it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think he wrote 2 or 3 versions of it. Honestly, like there's like the first one that comes is probably the most famous because people got really mad at his first version or whatever. But like, what was I gonna say? It helps internalize, but I would say like it's almost think of it like if you're like working at a university and they give you a budget and like if you don't spend the budget they're gonna take it away, so you just kind of split. Like mana's kind of like that. Like if you don't spend it, they're gonna take it away from you. I'm not trying to be like too general, but it's like you should be aware. Like not using your mana, it's like having money in Monopoly, but it's like when your turn's over, you lose it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's exactly how it is in my line of work. Like if I don't spend the technology budget, if it comes in under budget, then I'll lose it next year. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean I don't know. Yeah. So like sometimes there's that thing, and it is kind of similar. I mean I don't know if that means that you're always supposed to splurge your whole budget, but. In Magic, you might as well because
it
nothing
motivates that for sure.
Yeah.
So this is exactly what you were saying here. So I'm wasting mana here. It's super awkward curve.
Yeah.
Um,
So looks like they're
yep.
doing that. Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
So I think the nice thing here is,
You have the pyroclasm.
yeah,
Well, sort of.
feels bad because they. So okay, I don't know. What's the play here? So they got the Grand. Their stuff is discounted. I think I wanted to demonstration the Grand, but I don't think I ended up doing that. I don't know. I just feel like I already lost at this point. Even
Well,
though I
the
have
situation's
artist
not
talent.
actually that bad. The situation's not that bad because in the mirror, like kind of the key cards is like if somebody has artist talent or monument, those are like you have an artist talent and they don't have artist talent or monument, which are like the best threats. Like these creature threats are not as scary. And like you basically I'm saying like having an artist talent sounds pretty good. I mean obviously I don't know, maybe they'll have whatever. I mean, I would say again like what do you think is like the most mana efficient play this turn? Like you haven't played a land, right?
Yeah, so it's I'm definitely playing a spell. I'm trying to get another land, and then maybe like, play another. I don't know, play maybe cycle and accumulate wisdom, or play an artist talent. If I could find my next land, just so
Yeah,
that would spend all my mana. Yeah.
Yeah, like I would be thinking like slam accumulate wisdom to look for my next land because again, like if you think about how the planes turn out, like if you don't hit your second land this turn, you're only gonna spend 2 mana. Whereas if you find your land, now you're gonna have 4 mana, and like you're about to draw a million cards because you have 2 wisdoms. So you can literally go accumulate wisdom, discard the artist talent, look at top 3, take a land, cast Iroh's demonstration, loot away, whatever you drew, and then like you're gonna untap, and next turn your graveyard's gonna have 2 lessons in it, and you're gonna have accumulate wisdom with like 1 or 2 cards in hand and artist talent and like 4 lands in play.
Yeah,
but again,
goddamn, yeah.
It just comes down to mana efficiency again, where it's like you really want to hit this land because you have artist talent and like you have 2 accumulate wisdom, so you're like not gonna run out of stuff to do. You just need enough mana to cast it all. So it's just like accumulate wisdom, discard talent, hit a land, and then it's like I don't know, like honestly I might pyroclasm because the Grand's good for them. So I mean you could kill the Grand, but it's like we have a lot of like single targeted removal in our deck, so maybe we can find one. I think it's kind of close, but like for me, I wouldn't even think about it right away because I'd be like, if I miss my land, I don't even need to think about it. I would just be like, cantrip, try and find the land, and then if I find the land, I would think about it. I guess that's kind of like micro details of like min-maxing your effort in the game. But yeah, obviously that is a question.
Yeah.
Like, what should you do? Should you deal 1 damage or should you kill Grand? And it's like, well, it is kind of nice. Yeah, and it's like, what's more threatening? Like the damage of the prowess. I mean, your life is kind of low. You're at 13 life. They have 3 cards. Obviously, the Grand gives them a discount.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's kind of close. Like, it's both kind of bad. Like, you have to be aware, like, things can go bad both ways. Maybe I would lean to dealing the 1 damage, especially because, like, we have accumulated wisdom, and, like, I don't know. Like, maybe I would be, like, if they have I don't know. It's kind of close, but...
yeah, it's so crazy because, like, the accumulate wisdom line, leading with that just makes so much sense when you said it, and, my brain didn't even see that, and, yeah, I think I ended up just going with, like,
yeah.
1 damage. I'm feeling pressured. Get the 1/1s off the board. I think that's where my mind went. And even worse, I think I killed the talent. Like I discarded the talent. So.
Well, it makes
yeah,
sense to
just
discard
in
the
every
talent
way.
because, like if you cast accumulate wisdom, like I definitely discard the talent, because like you already have 1 talent. And like I don't know, like you could maybe discard the wisdom, I guess.
Did it all
like,
backwards, I basically gambled on like a single draw, hoping I get a land.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So this happens, and also there's situations like if you accumulate wisdom, like maybe you draw like a shock, and then you kill the Grand with that, and then you have the Iroh's demonstration for next turn. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You're like okay, I guess so. You feel like you're dead. You're being sad. Yeah, you're like, I guess I'll do this. Discard the talent. Like it almost kind of, and then you draw the firebending lesson, so you're kind of rewarded, and you can just cast this discard accumulated wisdom, and now it's like I mean, it looks kind of good now. Like we'll see what they do on their turn. They can obviously do good things.
What am I thinking here?
Yeah, I don't know what you're thinking.
Oh,
Let's see.
I didn't discard the wisdom, dude. Like.
Oh yeah, you went for max greed. Yeah. Well, he said it was your first game, so you're. I mean, to be fair, like there are like you could get paid off if your top card's a lesson, but I don't know. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know if it like there's a lot of like micro decisions. So anyway, so you see this. I mean, yeah. This is kind of
I don't know
interesting.
what I did here. I probably leveled. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of interesting because like it
then-
actually is kind of reasonable to level here because you're not gonna like use your mana that effectively otherwise. But the only thing is if they have exactly quench, then if they have exactly quench, they could quench your accumulated wisdom. But like there's a pretty good chance they tap out. Yeah, you can like just let them do this and then
Yeah.
accumulated wisdom in
So
response.
this would be the moment to play.
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 'cause of
and
quench.
I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You have
I didn't
mana
think about
leaving
it.
your mana up addiction.
Yeah.
That was what LSV used to say. He's like, just because it's an instant doesn't mean you have to cast it at instant speed. So
Right.
yeah, they play
Here's
monument.
their first piece. Yep.
Yeah,
I basically, did everything I could to give them the game.
yeah.
And then now I'm gonna get quenched.
Or no,
Okay,
now
I
you're
still
like,
don't
oh, I'm gonna
it.
play around the quench. I mean, here it's kind of interesting because maybe you can discard the verge and just try and be like, I'm gonna try and find a, because I don't know. Yeah, so you do that.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm
And-
doing.
Yeah, and then you see like grand band attachments. Like, yeah, maybe you should take, I don't know, I can't. Yeah, they have like a grand in play, or what do they have in play? A grand, I guess.
They have a grand.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess it's kind of
So-
close what to take. It's like it's probably not boomerang. It's probably either abandoned attachments or grand. So it's just kind of like, are you more scared of running out of cards? Like maybe just take abandon. I mean, it seems fine because it's one mana and it like
Yeah,
draws
I-
3 cards. Yeah.
I took abandon because like I know that they have like I don't know what is it like 12 burn spells in their
Yeah.
deck or something, So I was just like, oh, I'll just take this so I don't get.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
also
then
kind of
kill
nice
again.
because you have your talent on level 2 already, so it's 1 mana, and
Yeah.
there's a chance you could run out of cards and stuff. So yeah, it seems reasonable. Like it's kind of funny because on the one hand you're like, oh, grand affects the board, and like tempo attachments doesn't, and like you're kind of on a race to like affect the board. But it's also like abandon is still just like a 1 mana kind of pretty good cantrip, and grand not that great. So yeah, this is kind of interesting. So yeah, you could like
Get a little punished here. I discarded a land that is untapped and didn't find an untapped land.
yeah,
And then so here, I mean, I'm obviously about to get quenched, right? But
well, I don't know
if
for
I
like
went
the
for
list
greedy
only had
line-
1 main. I mean, maybe they have it, but it's like, I mean, like you get like you can't really play around the quench. Like it's like, well, for example, like I would imagine like you might want to lead on Iroh's demonstration their grand and just see what happens. Like it's not, or I guess yeah. What were you thinking here? I guess I shouldn't have just said what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. I was just being impulsive, and I was like, oh, let me get the monument down. There it is. And I did feel like there's no point in playing around the quench here. But I don't know. Like I do feel like there's. I mean, the Iroh's line is actually it seems compelling. Like get the quench out of their hand, maybe. The upside is if they don't have the quench, they lose their grand, and I could still accumulate wisdom. And then I have a lot of gas for next turn with the monument. That actually feels pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the line, like my line, it's not even like quench related at all. It's more like, if they untap the grand, like here, like if they untap the grand, like is that bad for you? Like, do you want them? Well, the first thing is like, does playing monument now do anything for you? Like that's what I'm like, you know what I mean? Like if you play monument, does it do
Right,
anything?
yeah,
Like maybe if
yeah.
you draw a land off the 1 loot, then it does something for you. But there's a pretty good chance you play monument, and it literally like, why do you need to play it now? You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
Exactly. Yeah. No. It's a perfect example of like what we were talking about at the beginning of the video or the stream. Like there's a lot of speculation with these decks, and like the monument line. Like I'm hoping to maybe get like an untapped land or something.
But yeah, it's all.
There's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's like.
There's like I'm not getting value out of it this turn otherwise.
Yeah, like and it's like their grand is like how do you feel about them untapping was the grand like
It feels sketchy. It feels super sketchy, right?
Like
they yeah.
like they have the monument, so like literally they're gonna get like the discard, they're literally gonna trigger their monument.
They got their discount. Yeah, they're
And-
gonna trigger the monument. Like,
and yeah, they might just buy
they
back-
grab the pieces.
Yeah, so like I kind of feel like I want to kill the grand. I feel like playing the monuments like not even that good for me now. I can just play it next turn, and like you just have a good turn where you go like kill their grand, cast ancestral, next turn cast monument. Like what are they gonna do? Like bounce your talent so you lose the level. So I'm like I don't know. So, yeah, I would just want to
Yeah.
kill the grand because like them like it's so bad for us if they untap it. Like they literally can go level their talent and get ancestral back if they have it, and then just ancestral for 1 mana and like just go off and anyway. So that's basically the thought. It's like we don't really need to get this threat down now, and we kind of want to remove their threat. So we'll see. You're kind of tanking a bit.
Yeah, so
you're seeing what happens.
Tanking as always.
I mean, it's kind of weird because like it's kind of a weird spot because like you don't really want to discard any cards, but like maybe you're supposed to Arrows and discard Abandon. Maybe you discard nothing. I don't know. It's not exactly clear because obviously you want your land. Obviously you want Wisdom and Monument. So it's like do you discard Abandon attachments? I could see it because like if they counter this and then you like draw another burn spell off the loot, then that would be good. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's obviously kind of close. It's always like pros and cons.
So,
then finally you go for it. You can't take it anymore.
Yeah,
and you go for the max greed. And they have the quench.
And they have the quench.
Yeah, and now you're just like in full blown
panic.
panic.
That lost me the game there. And then this is where I'm like, all right, let me get an untapped land, please.
Yeah, like I think like discarding abandoned attachments would have been better, but I guess I don't know that don't need to delve too deep into that. Just because like the next turn you're gonna ancestral anyway, so. But it's like pretty rough here. Also the Grand like now I mean obviously like you couldn't have stopped it anyway, but like you can see like the value of like giving them the Grand. It's like the loot's insane value here.
Yeah.
Like, whatever they just draw 3 cards from the Grand. Then they hit you for 1, and your Chocobo like just did a weird dance. So it's all like it fell on the floor. Okay, so now At least they didn't play Artist Talent, so they had some chill. Okay, so you lead on Ancestral, makes sense. Okay, let's see what happens. It kind of makes sense because he like gives you more information on your later loots, I guess. Yeah, so you do that.
The talent here.
Yeah, I guess that's not crazy necessarily because you're like they have a lot of burn and stuff. You're like probably like just gonna try and kill some of their guys and look for stuff. I mean, you can lead on abandoned attachments here because that way you have more outs to like hit a monument now and then start triggering the monument. So like, I don't know. That's just a micro thing. But it's also like you're probably you're always gonna abandon attachments this turn, right? So like, why don't you like you could just lead on it and then get more options because it's not like they're gonna quench your firebending lesson or whatever. Like you have 2 burn spells anyway. So.
I hadn't considered like what I could draw into if I led with abandoned attachments.
There's the monument. I guess you drew it anyway. So you draw the monument, and probably slam it because people only play like 1 quench, and then you can loot away a card. I guess why not? And then let's see, and then maybe you play abandoned attachments. I guess I don't know. Seems fine enough.
I think I'm probably thinking. I'll make a treasure, maybe.
Yeah, you gotta do treasure and draw cards, so you gotta do it all, and
And then I don't know.
Well, I could see an argument to hold. Yeah, well, this is kind of like micro. This is kind of like micro min maxing the turns, but it's kind of like one reason you might want to keep that is just because you can bounce one of their Monument of Endurances, so they have to spend 3 mana again, because you're kind of like in a goldfish type race. And like maybe it's worth like taxing them 3 mana, and I don't know. So I don't know.
No.
I mean I don't know. Like you go. Well, there's no point keeping the Iros because if you can just Boomerang basics their otter anyway if you want to, right? So like,
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Like I got too hung up on.
Oh man, you didn't go for the draw card. You went for the loose. Well, that makes sense actually because you're trying to just kill them. So that makes sense.
I think I was thinking like they got double monument.
Yeah, like, just erase. So I mean, that's reasonable. Because this way, if you draw another monument, you can, potentially do stuff. I mean, it is kind of like sketch. Like I would consider heavily. Like it is kind of unfortunate. I feel like what were you thinking about the otter? Like you let them untap. Was it like did you consider killing it or?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it. I figured. I'm at a point where I get at least 1 free spell next turn. So they used up their quench. I was probably thinking about that. And so, I could probably otter, make a treasure token, and then wisdom on their turn at this rate. Yeah, I don't know. Like, but I mean, I don't know. If we rewind a bit, like maybe there was a moment where it would have made more sense to play it here.
Well, I would say, how do you
I
feel about
guess
like letting your opponent untap with the otter?
I didn't feel like too pressured at this point. I mean, I know I'm at lower life and all that, and like, yeah, they can. I mean, I guess actually, no, they could have lethal, right? Like, I didn't think about that. No, no, no. Okay, I remember. I was thinking they have if like they already have lethal with double monument if they're able to discard. Like if they play like talent. Um, I don't remember what I was thinking. I was thinking something like the otter is not going to make up enough to swing for lethal because they still need a discard outlet and to get me with the double monument. So I'll very likely get some time to deal with the otter or something like that.
Yeah, I was
Like
just
at least
thinking.
another turn to deal with it.
Yeah, like maybe it's not the most important to deal with here, but like I'm just thinking of a heuristic of like, as you're saying, like the damage race kind of matters. Most people have a lot of cards, and like giving them the otter, they're just gonna deal a lot of damage with the otter. Like they have like 7 lands. Like if they just start the turn with like accumulate wisdom. I mean, maybe you're saying you think you're dead anyway, but it's like, you know, if the damage matters, like maybe it matters. I guess there's like a micros thing. It's like when you cast abandon attachments, maybe you could have like held the abandon attachments to cast on their turn because it's an instant, and like just cast the Otter's demonstration on your turn, so that way you maximize
Yeah.
the looting from the whatever thingy. But like, I mean, I'm not saying it's like necessarily the right play in this situation to kill their otter, but it's more like I feel kind of bad about letting them untap as an otter because I feel kind of bad about taking
Yeah.
damage. Because I feel like what matters here, kind of like we both have an abundance of cards, so it's almost like damage matters a lot here, right? Because but maybe
Yeah.
so
You're
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, now that you're explaining it, the like killing the otter seems like the more deterministic play, whereas like playing and then yeah, I still have the abandoned attachments open next turn. And I'll get a free spell, make a treasure basically, and
Yeah.
I can play. Yeah, I mean that makes a lot more sense. I went for the more like
I mean, you
weird
could also
one, I
do something like
guess.
if you cast the cantrip on their turn, you can try and like make a treasure and spike hitting, or like you can try and like, if you hit a 1 mana burn spell, then you could try and hit it. But I guess my main point is like if you're in a stage of a game where both people have like every card they can access, like if both people have a lot of card advantage, then like like maybe you want to just kill their otter, just if you're not giving up too much because the damage could
Yeah.
matter, because whatever. But anyway, so like from there, yeah, so the abandon
Yeah.
resolves, and obviously yeah, there's the like small mini games of like, oh should I try and cast this instant on their turn so that I can trigger Talon on their turn or whatever. Yeah, so you go so this happens, then you pass. Yeah, let's see, because like to be fair, like realistically, like yeah, they don't, yeah, they might do something where they just like, yeah, like level the Talon and get back something, and then maybe you feel smart because you get a
Yeah. So this
quench, yeah.
felt pretty good.
Yeah, you got to do
Get a
this.
quench.
Yeah. I don't know if it's better to Ancestral first so that you have more options when you're looting on what to discard, but maybe it doesn't matter. Because, like, you could Ancestral, make the
that's
treasure,
interesting.
and then, like, you know what I mean? Like, that would just be, like,
Yeah.
small sequencing, I guess. Anyway, so they do this.
Oh yeah, this is yeah, this is another case where I keep thinking this is an instant, and
Okay.
or
Yeah.
yeah. So see, I covered over. I'm like, wait a minute, like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So then this happens. Yeah, that makes sense. I just was like, why didn't you kill it main phase? And you're like, because I thought it was an instant. So, actually, there's a reason to quench there, because if you drew a firebending lesson. So yeah, you're drawing pretty bad cards, but luckily you
Yeah.
have artist talent, so it just doesn't matter. Yeah, it's so broken about
So I
this deck.
think this
It's
is
like,
lethal here, right? Yeah. Or
yeah, I guess they give up.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it looked pretty good for you.
Uh,
So you just won. Despite when you were freaking out about the grands and all of that earlier.
yeah. I mean, I proceed to lose the next match. I mean, the rest of the match, but we'll So I'm not sure how I'm supposed to sideboard. Like I guess the braids. The Yeah, the counter spells. I brought in a Soul Guide Lantern, but I felt kind of bad about that. I'm not sure if like I'm supposed to be trying to maintain the graveyard or just like yeah. This is the other thing. I felt like the talents. Like, am I supposed to remove them in this matchup, or am like I need a lot of help with the sideboarding plan. I like the talents.
Like, am I trying to play a grindy game in this matchup, and do the talents matter because of that? Or am I trying to play like a control, like, counter their stuff and just deploy my threats kind of situation?
Yeah, I mean, I would say this is definitely like a pretty hard matchup to sideboard for, and you can go pretty deep in all kinds of directions. Some people were trimming this or that, and it's kind of helpful to like. I don't know how easy it is to like explain, but like for me, I find it helpful to just try and like think about what battles I want to fight about in the matchup. Think about like trying to think about a big picture view, but like let me see, how do I go into that? Because like and it's like what do you want to choose to fight over? Because there's like a lot of things you can fight over. Like I can give an example, but it might be too abstract. Like for example, I saw when I was watching coverage, I think Sam Pardee maybe trimmed some Grands, and I was like, okay, like that could be interesting in the mirror match. But it's like, what are you saying when you're trimming Grands? Like, what are you fighting over? And it's kind of like saying like, well, Grand obviously can't really trade down necessarily because like at most you pay 1 mana for it and they spend 1 mana to remove it. But like maybe if you're like, oh, I want to make their removal blank, then maybe that would be a reason to trim Grand. Or you're like, oh, maybe I want to I just need space for all this stuff, and I feel like Grand like, yeah, basically you want to blank their removal or whatever, be like a more control deck. It's like, what's the upsides of Grand? It's like, well, it's 1 mana, it's powerful, it's proactive, it forces them to react to it, whatever. And yeah, it's like how good. And like I was saying earlier about like this isn't the best Storm Chasers talent deck, and this might not be the best Storm Chaser talent matchups. Because if you think about Boomerang Basics in this matchup, like I guess it's kind of like technically it can bounce their talents and monuments, but like those aren't necessarily the best cards to bounce. I mean, it's kind of weird because like in a way all that matters in the matchup, it might feel like, is talent and monument. But if you think, what am I like, the easiest way to think about sideboarding is like, if I draw this card, am I going to be happy, and like how do I use it? And like Boomerang Basics is weird because it's like, how am I going to use Boomerang Basics and be happy? Because like even if you bounce your own talent, it's not like that good in the mirror necessarily. I mean, it's kind of good,
right.
But it's kind of like if they have, it's like if somebody has talent and monument domination, it doesn't really matter if you have 2 otters that much. You know what I mean? Like I guess so. Yeah. And like it's like how much does this 1/1 otter matter? Because like if my opponent plays a talent and I have a 1/1 otter, or like they play a monument, or, they play accumulated wisdom, and it's like, yeah, maybe like I was like maybe I could just cut all my boomerangs and my talents, just because like I don't know if playing like I feel like talent and boomerang both might be pretty low impact cards in the game, and just like side in my abrade, side in abandoned attachment, side in counter spells, and just be like, you know what I mean, try and fight over grand artist talent monument, accept the thing, and like, yeah, sure, I can't bounce the monument, but I'm gonna side like 3 to 4 braids, if I'm really teching for the mirror. So that's kind of what I was thinking. The Soul Guide's weird because that's a good thing. Like that's something Magic players do a lot. Is they'll be like, they're a graveyard deck, so therefore I should side in the graveyard card. But it does pay off to like really think about like how it's gonna play out. I think it's reasonable to consider the Soul Guide and side some in. But at first, like, if you actually think about it, it does seem kind of sketchy because you're like, okay, if I side in Soul Guide, what does it accomplish? So it's like, let's say you counter them drawing 3 cards with Accumulate Wisdom, right? That's what it's supposed to do. But you're literally already down a card when that happens because they cast Accumulate Wisdom, you sacrifice Soul Guide, they draw a card. That means their Accumulate Wisdom basically locked in a 2-for-1 because they traded with your Soul Guide. Like, yes, you got to exile their graveyard, but you know what I mean? And so, like, and that's like supposed to be like, let's say that's the best thing Accumulate Wisdom or Soul Guide does. That means every other time Soul Guide's bad because, like, let's say it's in your opening hand and you're not being proactive, or like it's just not relevant in the game. So it's like the peak scenario of Soul Guide is like, I'm gonna deny them drawing 1 extra card. But obviously I could see it just because like denying them it's not just that you deny them an extra card, but you mean they can't loop it, right? Because like the problem is the first wisdom is they resolve the first wisdom and then they draw a second wisdom, and like it was the grand like you still have to discount on the grand and like, you know what I mean? So obviously the graveyard hit can matter, but like it's not like obviously amazing. I mean, maybe it is, but maybe that's because I like to like really think about like my cards and like if I want to use them well. But like, yeah, like I would say that's what I would think about Soul Guide. It's like, how are you planning to use it? And like, yeah, just being like conscious of like, what you're trying to do is the cards in the matchup, so you have a plan for it. And that way you can like look out and be like, is it playing out like that? Is the card doing what I want it to do? You know what I mean? Like rather than just having Soul Guide and be like, is it good? So I don't know. Like for me, if I was first playing, I would probably trim Boomerang Basics and Storm Chasers because I feel like both those cards, like they can just do nothing, and I would just like have more interaction and try and fight over the other stuff. And like I would trim like some burn spells.
Yeah.
Like that's another interesting thing. Like Iroh's demonstration. Actually, the way I built my sideboard, I like just built like a 13 card sideboard because I wanted to side out like so many cards. But like yeah, like combustion technique and Iroh's like combustion technique's obviously pretty terrible. Like unless your opponent plays a Riddler, you know what I mean? It's like pretty bad.
Right, yeah.
Iroh's is pretty awkward
Yeah.
because like yeah.
It's like, I mean, yeah, the Iroh's feels. I mean, yeah, I know maybe like if they're recurring Storm Chasers talent and stuff, like I don't know, they'd have to tap out for it to be good. It's very circumstantial, right? Like
Yeah, it's like
it just felt.
because it's like only
Yeah.
really good if they flicker their talent. Because if they play Grand, it's not really that good to kill Grand. If they play one talent, it's
Right.
not good to kill one. And like if they play Artist Talent or Monument, it's not good against those threats. If they go for an Accumulated Wisdom, it's not good against that. But it is good specifically if they play two otters. But something I was thinking is like if my opponent plays two otters, maybe then I can use my Firebending Lesson, or if you have Boomerang basics, and just try and like keep them off otters. Because like Firebending Lesson, they're you know what I mean? Like maybe that's fine. I mean maybe you want one or two Irohs, but also you're siding in a Braid. Like you can also like if they're making a lot of otters, also you're siding in counterspell. So if you're siding in cards like Spell Pierce and Annul and Negate, you can also use those cards to interact with Storm Chaser's talent too. And not need the
good
Irohs.
point, yeah.
And just be like, I'm gonna try and interact with talent with my Firebending Lessons and my Braids and my counter spells, and you know, so that's kind of what I'd be thinking. But
Yeah.
obviously, it's pretty hard. You know, there's a lot to consider. Like, do I want? Also, I could see considering Pyroclasm, which might sound weird, but it's like it might be pretty common that they play Storm Chaser plus Grand. Like, I think Pyroclasm is better than the Iroh's demonstration because it's not a lesson, but it kills It can kill their Grand, right? So.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That seems way more versatile than Iroh's. And you know, I didn't sideboard, you know, well at all. I mean, I took out the Storm Chaser's talent. I didn't take out the Boomerang basics. But the thing is, like, I knew it wasn't until after you know I finished sideboarding that I realized, like, well, I don't really want to be bouncing their talents, right? Like these are really grindy matchups. Like I'm not trying to play like a weird tempo, you know what I mean? Like a matchup with this deck, in the mirror at least. And yeah, I don't know why I trimmed. Like I kept the Irohs. I was overvaluing like you know
Pyroclasm.
the 1/1s from the yeah, exactly. So I just very bad sideboarding. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time for us to go through this match or the rest of this match. I mean, you know. I did lose, but yeah, what I'm gonna do is I think I have this. Yeah, and look, I start with the Soul Guide Lantern. I have this deck. I think mostly on paper, so I'm probably gonna play some more Magic Online with it over the weekend, and maybe like hit up an RCQ with it, and you know try it out on paper too. And yeah, I figured like hopefully I can get a little bit better at it. You're streaming this, right? Like you're gonna put up a VOD or whatever afterwards.
Yeah, it's on. I can send you the link. I was streaming this. I think if the audio works,
Awesome.
we'll see.
Yeah, I'd love to review this video. And then what I'll do is I'll record some more like Magic Online, like leagues or challenges or something, and you know I can come back with like you know more replays next week, and we could see if I'm you know improving at all. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna need to take notes on this. This VOD. You gave a lot of good advice, so you know, I just want to make sure I can internalize it and you know practice it well enough and stuff.
Yeah, I guess the last closing, the final closing thought I would say is like with what you were saying about the Boomerang basics and the opponent's cards, like kind of what I would be like. The real question is like you were saying like you don't know if you want to play a tempo game. Yeah, the real question is like, are you going to be happy to cast it? Because it's like it's not clear if you want to bounce their, you know, Artist Talent and their Monument, because sometimes you enter these games where it's like, it is grindy, but most people are basically drawing their decks, right? So then it becomes more about efficiency again. I mean, that would take a while to get into, but like, that's the kind of question I'd be asking as basics is like, when you're playing the games, do you want to cast it? Like, maybe you're finding that most people are drawing their deck, and you just want a one-mana way to bounce their talent, because maybe they, like, for example, if they level their talent, right? If they know you set all the basics, they can just level their talent, whereas it could punish that. So that's the question I would be asking, basically. Yeah, it's just like, do I want to cast it in the matchup? I guess that sounds very, you know, whatever, but yeah.
So I guess like I could, I mean, for sure there will be opportunities where it makes a lot of sense. I'm guessing like probably you know three Boomerang basics is probably not what you want to be doing. Like I could see like maybe like a one of or something, but
I don't know. Like your plan makes a lot of sense to me, where you're just citing out like the storm chasers and the basics like that. I mean, that feels like maybe a good starting point, but I don't know. It could be interesting to experiment with like a one of post board of the basics, and yeah, I like where your head's at with the pyroclasm. That's a really good point there.
Yeah, especially
So
on the
yeah,
draw,
man,
maybe.
cool. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Awesome, man. Well,
Okay.
I'll hit you up on by Sunday, just to figure out your availability for next week, and we can lock in a couple more days next week, and then